The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
So I was sitting at the dinner table the other day with my wife, and we were having a conversation. And I said, it's kind of sad. Wednesday doesn't have its own thing. And she's like, yeah, it does. It's called Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to you.
So get this. I'm watching an adult video late last night, and this woman has two in her ass, and then she reaches around and then two of her own fingers in there. That's a lot of stuff.
Anyway, happy Wednesday, also known as Hump Day.
It's showtime!
You know, that guy wasn't lying.
That is a lot of stuff.
That's
a lot of stuff.
You know,
Two wieners and two fingers.
Right.
That's a lot of stuff.
So there's it's two guys. It's not a two-wienered guy.
No.
He described this to me later.
I would imagine not.
And she kind of looks back bored and eventually says, you know what, I'm going to fix this. And she adds two of her own.
Was this a phone call you got from somebody? How do you call it in the adult world?
Like a voicemail?
Voicemail?
Voicemail, is that what you're trying to say?
That's how grown folks say it, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday when we were doing our little after the show stuff, I saw my buddy Bitch Nips was calling, and I sent him the voicemail. We're in the middle of our thing.
You get a phone call from Bitch Nips?
Yeah, and so as I'm sifting through the voicemails telling me about my car warranty that expired.
Sure.
And the cruise tickets I've won, I found that little gem.
Oh, I'm glad you brought it to the program.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Because she's right. That is a lot of stuff for anybody. Belladonna. I'm going to guess that the adult actress he was watching was Belladonna or Audrey Hollander. So I'd like if you would do me a favor, Josh. Maybe sometime this morning, get a hold of your buddy who watched that porno movie with the girl with the two wieners and the two fingers. Ask him to go back and look it up and find out if I'm right. And you heard it here first. I don't want anyone trying to claim that they said Belladonna or they said Audrey Hollander. Those were my guesses.
I'll ask.
Please
because
do that.
He went on to explain if he'd ever be involved in that and the exact circumstances of his involvement.
Well, that's interesting. I'd like to hear that.
But he had all night to think about it. I was caught off guard on the phone.
My vast experience with watching porno movies leads me to those two suspects, Belladonna or Audrey Hollander. And there are others in the listening audience. I know this. There's a few people in our listening audience right now who have watched Belladonna and Audrey Hollander, and they're saying, oh, those are pretty good guesses right there. But I've been wrong once before, Josh. I've been wrong once before.
Just once, you're saying?
It could potentially happen again. But you heard it here first. You see, that's what Josh knows this about me. While the rest of you are being all immature and masturbating while watching porn, I'm actually just watching.
To you, it's cinema. S-I-N-ama.
Exactly.
You like to watch that kind of stuff.
And that's how I'm able to come up with.
You do it for the love of the art. You appreciate it more than us just animals that just tear ourselves apart while watching it.
I mean, that makes me sound kind of pompous. I appreciate you trying to, but I don't know if I'm that deep about it, but I see where you're going with that.
There's UCLA, or there's some California school where they have a porn studies class. Our former coworker, Allie, took it. Maybe you could be a guest speaker. And you could maybe extol the virtues of not masturbating while watching porn.
I do. I just watch. I remember the first time I said that on the radio, everyone said, what? What do you mean you don't? No, I just actually like to. Oh, there are other guesses coming in.
People are disagreeing.
Well, I've seen Debbie Diamond.
Debbie Diamond.
That's a good guess, too.
Phoenix Marie.
I don't know Phoenix Marie, but Debbie Diamond can take a lot of cargo.
Did you mention Nikki Bella?
No.
Bella,
Bella, no. I went strictly with Belladonna and Audrey Hollander. Something wrong, Ashley? We're talking porn over here.
I don't know
you've been
these
very
ones.
Is there something wrong?
No, I don't know these ones.
Oh.
But usually you could contribute with, well, so-and-so, and the year 1998. Took
No,
3 wieners, actually.
No, I'm lost here. I don't watch porn that includes wieners. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Remember you said that.
I will go that direction now and again, Ashley. I will. I'll watch porn that includes wieners. But
Why are you doing that?
usually I'm on the same page you are. Usually it's just a pile of females. But anyway.
I don't watch porn, but if I did, I want to watch a porn that features exclusively wieners.
Just all wieners?
Yeah.
That's it.
Only wieners.
This would be great. This would be great. I hopefully you can get a hold of your buddy and we can figure out who this talented lady was. Welcome to the Half-Ass Morning Show, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
And I'm not going to acknowledge all the texts suggesting perhaps it was my mom in that video. I'm not going to do that.
Just rude.
I'm not going to give you that satisfaction of all the texts people are sending in about. It's not my mom.
It's not even 6 a.m.
A little early for that, Ashley says.
Yeah, come on.
All right, so here we go. Like the intro mentioned otherwise, the intro mentioned that they called today. A lot of folks called today Hump Day. Hope everyone's doing all right. You know, speaking of sexy things, like porn, talented porn actresses, speaking of sexy things, here's something that I thought was going to just come and go, but people are still talking about it. There's still text in this radio show about it, and we really haven't had the time the last couple of days to talk about it. We apologize for that if you're chomping at the bit. I'm still hearing people talk about it, still seeing text messages about Dolly Parton's sexy outfit from last week's Thanksgiving halftime show in Dallas.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah, she did.
So we might as well.
My stepmom. She's not my stepmom. She is my mother-in-law. She is a huge Dolly Parton fan. As a matter of fact, I get her a lot of Dolly Parton stuff for birthdays and holidays because she absolutely loves her, and she was in heaven watching. I mean, even my mom, sitting next to my mom at Thanksgiving, we're at Thanksgiving dinner, we're watching that, and she's like, she's older than me. And look at her.
What is she, 77? Dolly Parton.
Yep.
77. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't paying much attention to the Dallas Cowboys football game on Thanksgiving, but the television was on in the background, and we were kind of hanging out in the kitchen, and I looked to my left at the TV, and I said, is that Dolly F. Me Running Parton? Oh, my goodness.
She's promoting that rock album she released.
Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more about this. I didn't know.
Yeah,
we didn't have the sound up or anything, so.
She's had, we played a little bit of it, when it first came out. She's released a rock album.
Covering famous rock songs?
Some of it is. I'll look at the track list again.
I thank you for that. I'm looking forward to, maybe she covered some of my favorite rock songs. Did she sing rock songs?
Yeah,
she did. Okay, I didn't know what did she sing at the halftime show.
The sound wasn't on either at the restaurant we were at.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. I wish I could
I
help
saw
you
the
out there,
pictures
but I
online,
didn't listen
yeah.
either.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Richie Sambora, the former guitar player, or is he back with Bon Jovi? I guess I'm not sure.
No, I don't think he is.
Sting, Steve Perry, Ann Wilson, John Fogerty, Kid Rock, they're all on this album.
They sang with her. They
and
performed.
it is all covers.
Covers.
Like.
Oh, give me some of the covers.
We have Every Breath You Take.
Oh.
Open Arms.
Oh.
Magic Man.
Oh, from Heart, sure.
Let's see.
Come
Purple
on.
Rain.
Oh, okay.
You don't like that?
I feel
Baby,
ya.
I Love Your Way.
I mean,
hate myself for loving you.
Baby, I Love Your Way, Peter Frampton. Hate myself. Oh, I hate that's a terrible Joan Jett song.
And
I can't stand that song.
Night Moves, Wrecking Ball, Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball.
Oh, forget Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball. I mean, I love Miley, but not her music. But Night Moves by Bob Seger? Yeah. I got to get this record.
I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
Sure.
Keep on Loving You, Heart of Glass.
Wow.
It's got 30 songs on it.
What?
Freebird.
Jeez.
What a great lineup. When does this record come out? I'm sorry.
Oh, it already did.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. At least she released a bunch of singles from
Who wants to meet me at Down in the Valley when we get off the air to buy the new? I'd like to go get the new.
Let me make sure it's already out.
That's great. That's great. What a great group of songs she put together. So the conversation has been up and down about.
Yeah, it came out on the 17th.
All right. Dolly Parton's new rock record. The conversation has been, online. You social media freaks have been arguing back and forth. Mostly, the argument has been in favor of Dolly Parton. The argument has been, should a 77-year-old lady be dressed like that on television and this and that, Here's the question that I saw online. Are you okay with 77-year-old Dolly Parton dressing like a 20-year-old Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? Yes or no?
Why the hell not?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I'd be okay with that.
Would he put on there, are you okay with a 20-year-old Dallas Cowboy cheerleader dressing like a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? It's ridiculous. That's a stupid question.
It is so stupid.
It is a stupid question, but as you know, we've got some folks in this country who are just, so straight-laced they can barely breathe. You guys already, that.
I would say 99% of people were all for it.
Yes, you're right. Most people loved to see Dolly because, she's just such a likable person. She has been from the word go. She is such a likable character.
We were talking icons yesterday. She's an icon. In many different disciplines.
For my money, when she comes at me with that, here you come again, my heart melts every single time. When did that song come out, Josh? 1974?
I'll try anything twice, Jesus says. Dolly Parton and the outfit, not my proudest tug, but I did it twice.
I saw that text before you read it. It almost killed me.
Tell me if you agree with me on this. If it was, who's another older singer?
Cher.
Cher's a good example. I guess where I was going with this is, who's an older female singer that is not the most well-loved character of all time? Madonna?
She's pretty loved, but
okay.
Madonna came to mind. I was trying to think of singers, in that category. Certainly Madonna.
I guess what I can't think of a better example, but where I'm going with this is, I think because Dolly Parton is so lovable, and she always has been, how could you have a problem with her coming out and doing this cowboy cheerleader bit? If it was a little more of there's a word I'm looking for, Josh. What's the word where some people love people? Where there's a character that's, some people love him and some people hate him.
Polarizing?
That's it. Thank you, Dana. If it was more of a polarizing character, then I think you would have seen more piss and vinegar online. But like you were saying, most folks were in favor of Dolly because why wouldn't you be in favor of a nice person like Dolly Parton? So...
And the original poster, the guy that posted this on X or whatever it's called now, maybe he wasn't being a jerk. Maybe he was just genuinely trying to create some conversation.
Sure.
But obviously it's a charged statement he made.
People were... he's 100% just trying to get people to go to his page and follow him and his tweet, just get traction. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if that's for sure. Like Josh said, maybe he was just trying to have a fun topic to talk about. But anyway,
it's a dude that tweets about it too.
So you're mad at this guy somehow.
It's just annoying. Well, what if let a woman do what she wants to do?
Well, wait a minute. But how do you know that he was being like Josh just said? Maybe he was just trying to generate a fun conversation on. Is that impossible to believe?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
It is impossible.
Nowadays,
okay,
absolutely.
I don't know. I'm not on social media.
Yeah, people just throw things out there to get a reaction.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a charged statement, right? But it's sort of banal in that he doesn't give his opinion. He just says, are you okay with 77-year-old Dolly Parton dressing like a 20-year-old Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? Yes or no? And then he points down as if comment underneath.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily defending the guy outside of maybe we've got it wrong a little bit. Maybe he wasn't trying to be a dick. But, if you put it out there, you're suggesting that there's something wrong.
I'll take your word for it because I don't mess around with social media. Here are some of the answers that I got a kick out of. This is America. Someone responded to the question, is it okay that Dolly Parton was doing this bit? This is America. It's Dolly Parton. She's the closest thing we have to royalty. She can do whatever the hell she wants to do.
That's so true. When I heard about this, I expected her outfit to be a lot more revealing. To be honest,
you expected her outfit to be more revealing?
Yeah, the way people were talking about it, and then when
it was this controversial, right? It must have been.
I was like, oh, she's just wearing spandex shorts and a tube top.
Well, she dressed exactly like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders did in the 70s. I don't know if they still dress that way, but that was the popular outfit. The outfit that made the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders popular when they first became massive in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Foundry Rat Jesus said they were in the middle of an aggressive Yahtzee game, and the whole family stopped in their tracks to watch Dolly's halftime show.
That's awesome.
That's how it was at the restaurant, too. Like, people stopped at the buffet and were like, oh, my God, take a look at this. This is awesome.
Parton.
Dolly Parton could murder 3 people in front of me and I wouldn't care, says another internet person. What do you call it? Social media person. Now, some were trying to be careful with this. And here's what I mean by that. Someone jumped online and said, we need to enact legislation that Dolly Parton is the only 77-year-old allowed to wear a Cowboys cheerleader outfit. I don't want this to start as a fashion trend.
Pickle Rick said that Dolly Parton had him yanking 9 to 5.
Whoa. Yanking 9 to 5. What a way to make a... and one other answer here to are you okay with 77-year-old Dolly Parton dressing like a 20-year-old Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, yes or no? Someone responded by saying, am I okay with world peace? Am I okay with laughter and happiness? Don't ask stupid questions. She's just one of the greatest.
Just a gift.
Of all time.
Insomniac Jesus said, as long as there are losers living in their parents' basements, there will always be critics like this.
Well,
that's a good point.
There you go.
How about that? A musician dressing provocatively. I wouldn't even say this. I mean, it's provocative, okay. Not, like you said, Ashley, not over the top, right? Nothing that should generate this much attention.
But at least...
But what a shock.
At least, like you said, Josh, most reaction was positive.
I would say I barely saw any. We got one negative text on it here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what did they say?
She's like 90. That outfit was crazy for her to wear.
Well, it was a little...
You don't expect someone her age to wear it, but, go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope that I look that good at that age and I can wear those kind of outfits still.
That's what a lot of... I saw a lot of that on the internet. Women saying, God help me if I'm 77 and I can still rock that outfit. I'd like to give it a shot. Madonna maybe was a polarizing enough character when I first brought her up to where I bet if it would have been Madonna, we would have seen a whole hell of a lot more on social media saying, you whore, let it go.
Yep.
Look at you. You're pathetic. It would have been nastier. But who's going to get nasty with Dolly?
You can't.
I mean, her name is Dolly.
I know. It's so, gosh, she's so cute.
She always has been. Adorable. Cher was a good answer, too. I mean, just the idea. I mean, I could see Cher doing something like this. She has got to be in her mid-70s as well at this point.
Well, it's funny. She just recently said, she's 77 as well.
Oh, my damn.
She recently said, I just wish I was 70 again. You don't hear that a lot.
No. That's funny.
Maybe you hear 30, 40, or even younger.
Uh-huh. I don't know much about Cher. I mean, I watched her on television when I was a kid. We used to watch the Sonny and Cher show, for Christ's sake. But I don't know much about her. I could maybe only name 1 or 2 of her songs. My sister loves Cher and can tell you all about her career. I'm not that guy. But she's always come off like she's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And very self-aware.
And absolutely. That's a very funny line, What was the line again? Some days I wish I could
be 70 again.
70 again. That's right.
Ojibwe Jesus said Cher could pull it off. He'd still tug it to her. Ha, 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 he says.
Oh. There you go. What else is going on around here? What is this deal where we have an opportunity to possibly send a listener to Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea?
Dude!
I kind of want to go on one of those rock cruises.
I would love to go on this cruise.
Why don't you do it then?
Oh, it's so much money.
And it's sold out, too.
Yeah, it's always sold out. It sells out in like 2 months, I think. Maybe even a month now.
Cozumel.
Well, if it takes 2 months to sell it out, then you got a pretty good opportunity someday, Wapple. I thought you were going to say it sells out in 2 days.
So much money.
Oh, I bet. I can't
Well,
even
no, I mean, of course.
fathom how
Like,
expensive
what are we
it
talking
is.
about? How much money are we talking?
Like almost $2,000 for a small cabin.
Yeah, that
Holy
would
hell.
sound about right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you say that and I missed it? Now that you mentioned two, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
That is a lot.
It's expensive.
Well, then this is a bigger prize than I even thought it was.
I'm not disregarding the price. No, not a chance. That's a lot of money. But here's the thing.
I no longer want to go on a rock cruise unless I can win tickets from a radio station. That's insane.
All of our love for television wrestling and the way we express it on this program for years and years now, all of it's kind of coming back to pay off suddenly. Yesterday we had Ric Flair in studio. And now we've got some kind of hookup here for the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea. And like I said, I've been hearing about this for years. Listen to this friggin' radio station during the 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. blitzes. And that's how you'll hear a keyword to text in and enter this contest. It's a national contest. Grand prize winner and a guest get a cabin. I don't give a rat's ass how big it is.
You're not going to be in there much anyway.
No, you are not. I went on one cruise, and I remember being in the cabin for maybe a total of 7 hours. Other than that, we were going crazy. Here's the deal. Grand prize winner and a guest get a cabin on this, as Josh said, sold-out voyage from Miami to someplace called Cozumel. Cozumel?
God bless you.
Cozumel?
Cozumel.
That's a hard one.
I
would
wanted you
love
to keep guessing.
Yeah, I was getting pretty
Yeah, you shouldn't have
excited.
corrected it.
Yeah,
I was following along here, and I was like, oh, let's see what he says.
Cozumel? You get on that boat, you go from Miami to Cozumel, that's how you say it, in January, and there'll be live wrestling matches.
And not a bad month to go if you're Minnesotan.
Oh, perfect time.
Not at all. Live wrestling matches, performances from Fozzy along with other musicians. I mean, if you know Chris Jericho, you know that he's got a lot of pals in the music industry, so he'll probably drag a couple of hair metal bands into the mix with him. There'll be some comics. Well, there's your chance to go down and get a nap in the cabin. Some comics. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
They got
Anyway, I was in line at the buffet, and
some of the music you guys would like. Trickster.
you already know
Bullet
who's going to
Boys.
be there?
Yeah, Trickster, Bullet Boys.
Oh, my God. Bullet Boys.
Quarantine. That's one of Chris Jericho's bands he started during COVID.
Ooh, who are the comics? I'm kidding.
Well, the wrestlers, this is real. So, Master of Ceremonies is, of course, Chris Jericho.
How do you guys know all this already?
Well, we looked at their website.
Yeah.
Oh, websites.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about
You're
websites.
gonna like the guest host.
Yeah, the guest of honor then is Paul White, but here's the main draw for me if I was going to be at this thing. The guest host, Santino Marella.
That's wonderful.
I know.
Who is Paul White?
The Big Show.
Big Show.
I love him.
Sure, of course.
Have you guys watched the Big Show on Netflix?
Yes, it's so good.
It's pretty funny.
That's unbelievable. Santino Marella is one of the greatest characters in television wrestling history. The Bullet Boys and Trickster is who you have in front of you, huh, Wapple?
How do you leave the Foos fighters off that list, Wapple?
I went with bands that you guys have talked about.
What did you say? The Foos fighters?
The Foos fighters, yeah.
Which one of us made that mistake?
Waffle, you never brought them up.
No, I never did. No.
I'm guessing they're a tribute band of some type.
Oh, wait a minute. What's happening here? I'm not following this.
The Foos Fighters are actually going to be there. It's a Foo Fighters tribute band.
So's Fem Halen. Fem Halen will be there too.
I didn't catch on to that. I apologize. Fem Halen must be an all-girl.
Yeah, I imagine.
Van Halen.
You know, one of the comedians,
You
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
F me.
I go catch his set for sure.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's-
familiar with the other names on here.
That's completely different if you get Hacksaw up there.
They're going to be recording podcasts on there. You can watch a live podcast.
Yeah, they do Chris Jericho's podcast like almost daily there.
You guys
I like that podcast.
tell me all about it. I'll be in my cabin.
And just out of curiosity, where will you be in your cabin? Like, where's the boat docked?
Oh, what town?
Yeah.
We're in Miami.
Well, after that,
Oh.
Once you reach your destination, where do you think you'll be hanging out?
Kazawaza.
Yeah, Kazawaza.
Kazawaza, well. There's complete contest rules at 93x.com if you want to look it up, but that's pretty nice. I bet that would be a lot of fun. And then the Bullet Boys come out. I went to a Bullet Boys concert.
Oh, yeah, how were they? Did they play Smooth Up in Ya twice, maybe?
Well, this was when they were hitting it big. This was the summer, Cubby, of 1900 and by God, 89. And the bill was quite impressive. I'm surprised you weren't there. The opening act was the Bullet Boys, followed by Winger.
Wow.
Followed by Cinderella.
Man.
On their long, cold winter tour. This was big. And
that'd be a good show.
Yes, it was. Winger and Cinderella were terrific. Bullet Boys came out, and the crowd just didn't give a rat's ass, and it kind of took me by surprise because they were on a bit of a roll at that point. Smooth Up In Ya was a big single, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Bullet Boys came out. This was at Met Center. Bullet Boys came out, and the crowd just really didn't care. And, groups of people, even in the first 10 rows, had their backs turned to the stage, just drinking beer and talking. You know what? Or trying to talk over them.
Yeah.
But the Bullet Boys were very offended by this. And the lead singer, Mark Torian, I think is how you say his name. And don't get me wrong, I really like their first 3-4 records. I think they were underrated. Yeah, kind of a Van Halen ripoff, but I really like their first 3-4 records. So during the show, Bullet Boys are getting very little reaction. And the lead singer, he doesn't give a rat's ass. He gets on the mic and he says, "Hey, Minnesota, this is about the lamest friggin' place I've ever played in my entire life. I hope we never come back here. You people suck." It was just hilarious. And then the crowd, boo, and he's like, "Oh, go F yourself. Here's Smooth Up In Ya. We're going to get out of here."
Were they okay live?
Yeah.
I don't picture them as a very good live band, but I've been to shows before where I thought, I don't know if these guys are going to be good live, and they've been great.
Very over the top, at least in 89. Very over the top, very energetic to the point where maybe this is what threw the crowd. They were so energetic with the jumping and the hair whipping and the drummers doing tricks with his drumsticks. It was so over the top that maybe it was just a little much for 7 o'clock at night. Maybe that's what happened on that particular occasion.
Yeah, they were going for it.
Oh, God, yeah they just come out screaming. And maybe that's why. But it was very funny. That was the first time in my life I'd ever been at a concert where the lead singer just says, "You know what? You people are morons and we hate you."
I've never experienced that. I've seen, we had a holiday concert with guitar player Gary Hoey. And, he's well known for doing rock versions of classic Christmas songs. He's an incredible guitar player. And he came out, and people were throwing change at him, and they treated him so poorly.
It was very nasty.
Yeah, it was awful. And he handled it like a gentleman. He's just like, "Okay, I'm sorry," and then he pretty much left the stage.
Oh,
I felt so
sad.
And we had an opportunity to meet him before and after, and he was such a sweet, nice guy, and people were such jerks to
I
him.
would have cried for him.
We both, I think, I remember that very well, Josh. We both were very nervous for Gary Hoey before he went on stage.
Yeah.
And then the crowd treated him so poorly. I think, didn't we both walk up to him afterwards and say, "Hey, sorry, dude"?
Yeah. I thought I was going to freaking cry. I mean, he was such a sweet guy, and he was just like, "Well, I guess they weren't into it," and he felt apologetic.
But before the show, he was peering through the curtain at all the animals in the first 10 rows who just looked like the absolute roughest people he'd ever encountered in his career, right? I mean, because the other bands on the bill were...
I think Manson was one of them.
Marilyn Manson and Korn.
Korn was one of them.
It was just a bad placement.
Just set up for disaster.
He was set up for... I remember him peering through the curtain at the crowd and then looking back as if he was thinking, "I'm a dead man."
Right. As if it's an episode of Game of Thrones where they're waiting to bring him out to hang him in front of people. I mean, it was...
so sad. It's like heartbreaking.
It's like when they bring a comic up to open up a big band. It's like, ooh.
Oh, that's the worst.
Was that Jim Florentine that was talking about? We had him on, and he was opening for Metallica, I think.
Yeah, it was either that or the little short guy with the Wolverine sideburns. It was he was on that metal show.
Yeah,
Jim. It's both guys. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
What about
I thought it was Jim Florentine, but But yeah, I remember him talking about how at first, especially, he thought, "What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Why is?" And I remember when they announced that, thinking, "That's odd. I've never heard of that before." And Jim Florentine was really big, and so if there was a big time comic, good choice. And he's obviously a rock guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody knows this about him. But still, it seemed kind of odd to have a comedian do that. Are there bands that are still doing that? I don't hear about it.
I haven't heard about it in years.
I've
no.
never been to one of those shows where I've never been to a show where a comic opened up. Who was the? Help me out. That metal show. It was Eddie Trunk. It was it Florentine? And who's the little comic?
I know who you're talking about.
I saw him open for Dice. He's a short little guy.
John Jameson.
Don Jameson.
There we go.
I think he did some opening for rock bands as a it kind of it's the kind of thing that brings you back to the 70s. Being a Kiss fan and being very into their history. You look back at some of the shows they did in 74 and 75. It was like Kiss with opening band, Kids Are People Too, and comic Red Fox and Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean? What? But back in those days, they just didn't care. They just put as whoever was available on the bill, and whoever shows up, good for them. Some odd combinations. That's how they did it back then. Okay, we got to get the hell out of here. We got to move on. It's been a wonderful start to the program. What a great prize. Be listening at 9, 1, and 4 for your chance at that Chris Jericho cruise. We will return here in just a handful of minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
How wrestling really works and how you get the ratings. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson explain on 83 Weeks.
Too much time is spent discussing talent's age. The younger demo is just as excited about a Paul Heyman or a John Cena or an Undertaker or Becky Lynch, or I don't care what their birth certificate says, they're going to draw a younger demo because they're fun to watch and they're great entertainers.
83 Weeks on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Here we go. We're going to launch ourselves face first into another episode of the Stupid News. This one here is for the ladies. The sister by Godhood. We love you all so very much. Here we go, ladies. As much as I personally encourage this type of behavior from you, consider this a warning that law enforcement agencies don't agree with me. A gal in Georgia was arrested. Word is she went to a public beach where then she got into the water and used a sex toy upon herself.
Well.
She did.
I'm interested in the sex toy.
Yeah, me too. And the gal who was using it.
She's
How's
wild.
it stay so,
Huh?
in water? That's impressive.
From what
Are they not designed to get wet?
I guess, if I
Take it easy,
submerged the
Waffle.
ones that I have, I don't think they would still work, no.
The ones that you have. All right.
Well, if it's plugged into the wall, you probably shouldn't.
That's a lot of volts.
Probably shouldn't bring it in the bathtub.
Well, I feel because most of them do, you have to plug them into the wall to, charge them. So that's why I'm lost here. I'm interested in this.
That's right. That is modern technology. I just pictured the battery, like your old D cell. That type of thing.
Like these huge batteries.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was like you'd put an old flashlight or something.
From what I'm taking away from this story here, this incredible incident took place a couple years ago. And now the story is entertaining everyone in a local courthouse down there in Georgia. The whole thing went to court, from what I can understand. there is newly released police body cam footage going around. And it's a lot of laughs. The gal who was busting one loose on a public beach, she calls herself Christina Revels Glick. Let's just go with Christina. Christina, she was 34 at the time of the incident, in the summer of 20 plus 21. And by the way, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Hubba hubba squared. She's something else.
She was approached by cops after families on the same beach complained. This family watched her masturbating in the water. And they even said they could hear her moaning during her aqua whack.
What did I do? So apparently you were masturbating on the beach.
Who saw that?
I mean, a couple people.
No, they didn't. That's not true.
Why would they call us?
Nobody was around.
She didn't exactly deny that.
Right.
I sent this to you for the website, didn't I, Ashley?
No, I didn't get this one, but I'll throw it up.
It said you posted it.
Oh, I guess so. Then I did.
How do you forget that video?
Sorry, there's so many sometimes.
That's a memorable video.
She denied it at first, from what I understand, as anyone would.
Well, you have to. No matter how caught you were.
The cops searched her bag, and that's when the gal admitted to using a vibrator on herself to, quote, blow off some steam.
We've all been there.
This is really highly offensive to me.
I got it.
I was sitting on the beach.
You did have a vibrator.
Listen, I was sitting on the water like this, and I just put it in there, and it was covered up, and I just had an orgasm. I'm sorry. I was stressed out.
I'm sorry. I had an orgasm.
It's just an orgasm. It happens to everybody.
Didn't you have a buddy who, once he was caught, he said he was just blowing off some steam?
That's one of my favorite stories. Word is this gal could face a 12-month jail sentence.
Whoa. Okay. That's a little...
That's ridiculous.
Extra. Yeah. In the video, she does look apologetic.
She does.
She's calm. She just had an orgasm.
That's true.
She's relaxed.
She's got a big old bottle of beer, too, in her hand.
That's true.
She was upset. She was embarrassed, as any of us would be. 12-month jail sentence. Let's not be stupid about this. She was very upset when she was put in handcuffs. That's one of my favorite stories about a pal of mine. And I give him all the credit in the world for being so mature at, he was probably 14 or 15 years old. Most of us wouldn't have been able to play this off so well the way my pal did. He skipped school, and he decided he was going to masturbate like he has never masturbated afore. Little did he know, 2-3 of his buddies also weren't going to school that day. And they came over to his house. So, he was as vulnerable as you can be. Just splayed out on the couch, as naked as the day he was born, just hauling off on himself. And his buddies see him. They peeked into the window, and they see what he's doing. And when you're 14 or 15, this is your chance to destroy somebody's life, right?
Yep.
Right? So his buddies, boom, bust open the door. Gotcha! And my pal just sat up on the couch, fully erect, sat up on the couch and said, well, looks like you boys caught me blowing off some steam. And because he downplayed it, you understand where I'm going with this, because he didn't say, no, get out of here. He just said, well, you got me. His buddies all said, yeah, we did. So anyway, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, all right, this isn't fun anymore.
There could have been a million different ways he could have gone with that and made it only worse. But at 14, 15, I think that's pretty damned impressive.
Yeah.
I've learned that's kind of life, right? How you recover from stuff.
Absolutely.
It makes such a big difference.
Absolutely.
Because if he was miserable about it, begged them not to tell anyone, he'd be the guy that jerked off the rest of his life.
Right.
I guess we are telling the story, but it's in a much different light.
Much different vein. No offense by saying vein. But yeah, and what were his buddies going to say? They've never done that? Give me a friggin' break. You're 14, 15 years old. All right. That hit television program, Yellowstone.
Love it.
You're still watching?
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll ever stop watching Yellowstone.
Never saw it! To be clear. But Wapple, okay, you tell me, isn't that program about tough as leather cattle ranchers and such?
Yeah, and buckle bunnies. And then there's also Lanny Wilson.
Even with do you want to... where do you want to go with that?
Who's Lanny Wilson?
You named a character specifically. You must want us to know more about it.
No, she's a country singer. She's very pretty, got a very good voice. She's in the show.
Yep, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, she's doing a song with Jelly Roll, Save Me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'll skip that one.
Oh, you should look her up, though. You'd like her.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you would.
Even without seeing the program, my natural assumption of a Wyoming cattle rancher is that they would be hard-working, honest, straight-up, tell-it-like-it-is type of folks, right? Fair assumption. Would you agree?
Yep.
Even if this show never existed, I would assume that a Wyoming cattle rancher is just a tough, honest sumbitch. This here next story shows that even cattle ranchers have the potential to be shady, ridiculous, immature, passive-aggressive dickbags. The story says that a couple of cattle ranchers, a father and son combo, were accused of bleaching penis shapes onto the cows belonging to their neighbor's ranch because of some type of property dispute. What, are we in 6th grade again?
That's pretty funny. I think I'd still kind of laugh at that. Well, unless it does damage to the cows.
Oh, it does, and I'll explain in a minute.
It's
but
like lawn jobbing a cow.
I guess sort of like. Yeah. Interesting way to put that, but I'll go along with it. But I would never expect to hear this kind of crap from that profession, right? The deal ended up in court. The judge that was handling this mess recently dismissed the charges against this father-son team. Says here the judge didn't find sufficient evidence to advance the case to the felony level court. The story goes on to say that a prosecutor could bring the charges up again if additional evidence pops up, but for now, the two of them are off the hook. It's like a 66-year-old dad and a 38-year-old son.
How do they have, they got a lot of animals. How do they have the time or that much anger? You'd think after a while you'd just go, okay, I think we've done enough.
They did have some disputes in Yellowstone with a different rancher, and the one rancher would cut their fence, and then the cattle would go on to their property, and they'd be like, no, these are our cows.
Lanny Wilson didn't get mixed up in that, did she?
No, she was later on more different seasons, yep.
The men were originally accused of bleaching penises and other shapes onto the bodies of 189 of their neighbors' heifers and 6 bulls to get the neighbors' attention after a 3-year-long property dispute. Something about, their neighbors' cattle were crossing onto their land. This is how they dealt with it. Are there pictures going around of these poor cows?
I didn't see any.
Okay.
I'm sure there's got to be somewhere, right?
The bleaching
The story didn't have any.
Okay. The bleaching knocked thousands of dollars off the cow's total value. Now you're messing with someone's bottom line.
And I'm sure they knew that, right, going into it.
Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't be just like someone like us that don't really know.
Each of these friggin' heads of cattle, I think is the proper term. Each of these animals had their overall price knocked down $500 to $700 each. And we're talking 189 friggin' different animals.
Holy
that were.
Cow. Sorry.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't catch it either. That's such a common saying. Move on.
Had the charges not been dropped, these guys faced 10 years in prison. And it ain't over yet. That's just not what I'd expect from those type of characters. But people will draw penises on things.
Yeah, they will.
It's a practice as old as time. Hell, ask Josh. he used to live across from a place that he called Penis Park because of how often big old penises would be spray painted up on the jungle gym and whatnot over there. Right, Josh?
Whole lot of penises. I didn't appreciate the penis that was spray painted on my pickup truck, but the rest of them I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, you got one on the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
And that got off easier than I thought it would have. I thought, I'm going to have a permanent penis on my vehicle, but we were able to get that wiped off.
If that ever happens to something in my possession, I'd be like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
I tried drawing a penis on your car, Dana, once, but then I realized that it wasn't your car after I asked you about it.
What? Say that again. You penised somebody else's car?
So I used to live very, very close to Dana's girlfriend, and so I used to think there was this car that parked relatively close to where she lived, so I assumed it was Dana's because it looked exactly like his and even had the dent in the side. And so one day I was like, all right, finally I'm gonna mess with it, and I drew a penis on it and like some other stuff, and I had told him about it, and he's like, yeah, that's not my car.
I wasn't at my girlfriend's
there
this
yesterday.
weekend.
Yeah. Whoops.
That's
Poor
not
guy.
good.
He probably walked out. Some guy probably walked out and was like, what did I do?
Got someone who grew up on a farm here and grew up on a farm and around farms. I've cowboyed out west. This happens all the time, but it's usually brushed off. We'd usually use paint on the animals. They wouldn't bleach it in there.
So they would vandalize other folks' animals?
I guess so.
Interesting.
Forget my plans of being a cowboy, Josh.
I have a plan of being a buckle bunny, as Wapple and I have said. I couldn't cowboy, but I could buckle bunny.
So here you go.
A lot of great puns coming in, by the way.
What were we talking about? Drawing penises on things.
Yeah, and the cows that the neighbors had a beef. It's utterly ridiculous. I hadn't HERD. I hadn't heard that before.
I had a buddy back in high school who loved to draw long penises inside the textbooks at school when nobody was looking. These penises would amazingly stretch from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 3 or 4 sometimes. Just long. You're turning the pages. My God, it's still going. He had a thing for drawing long penises.
Would it grow? Would he make it grow like a flip book? So when
No, it wasn't. He didn't have that type of, how do you call it, artistic talent. It was just,
growing penis in the book.
Pardon me?
Growing penis in the book.
Growing penis in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Folks will draw penises on things. Here's another one of those situations where somebody spray painted a penis down onto a road in their neighborhood to call attention to a big old pothole.
Follow the penis.
It happened in a place called Lansing in the United Kingdom on a road called Brighton Road. Somebody's not happy with how long it's taking for this pothole to get filled, so they made a spray paint penis on the pothole. It kind of resembles also, you tell me, Josh, it kind of resembles a hand throwing out a middle finger, too.
Yeah, you know what? If somebody didn't say anything about it, I would assume it was a middle finger.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see what they're talking about here with penis, but it definitely looks more like a middle finger to me.
Similar vandalism has been dumped on neighboring towns, and in those cases, the potholes were upped and fixed the next day. So I guess maybe that's what motivated this spray paint penis was they thought, well, the road crew will come out and fix it right away. Personally, I think I'd make a phone call if a pothole troubled me this much, but that's just me.
There was a what do they call those? A guerrilla artist? One of those guys? You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
Like Banksy or I don't know. There's a guy that calls himself Wanksy, and he's also in the UK, and he goes around. He does this all the time. He puts penises around potholes.
Graffiti. Nice. What's the difference between a graffiti artist and a guerrilla artist?
Well, because theirs isn't always graffiti. A guerrilla artist, that doesn't sound right to me. I can't remember what they call it.
I've heard it before, I think. I think you got it. Okay.
Now I'm just picturing a gorilla at an easel, painting some trees, happy little clouds.
And that's adorable, isn't it?
It is. That really made my day. What great imagery that's become.
Folks who carry dangerous illegal drugs around town need to start coming up with better excuses for when they get busted. How is that they never have a believable excuse?
Is it the drugs?
Could be. Josh and I have known a couple people from over the years of working in this building that were known for their terrible excuses. Just awful. They assume that everybody else is stupid and we can't see through their BS. Really frustrating. I hate a bad excuse. At least give me a good one. Make me think about it for a minute. You know what I mean? Show some creativity. I hate a bad excuse. But maybe nobody's any good at making excuses. Maybe bad excuses aren't just a common trait of drug dealers. I don't know. It's always fun to hear what these derelicts come up with when the cards are on the table. This sumbitch in Florida, a 46-year-old called Caleb Phillips. He was getting all set to check into jail for a stretch of time. I think it had something to do with a DUI or something. There he is. He's about ready to check into jail. He was changing from his street clothes into his jail jumpsuit. A corrections officer found a plastic cylinder containing methamphetamines under his penis. God help the guy who makes a living looking under the penises of all the fellas who check into jail.
Oh, that's tough.
That would suck.
So a corrections officer found a plastic cylinder containing meth under this dude's dong, tucked under his dong. The dude said he was, quote, unsure of how the cylinder got there.
What the? How did this?
Crazy.
No, jeez. Who put that there?
He told the cop that he did not place the cylinder under his penis, but he speculated, and here we go. He thought that maybe the cylinder with the meth in it was somehow placed in there while he was asleep.
Oh, maybe.
Classic gag. Your buddy passes out, he puts some meth under his penis.
You know, sometimes it's, what if it was true? You know, there's no way you're going to believe it. I was just talking about this with a buddy the other day, and it's killing me. I can't remember what it was, but there's something where I was in a situation where it was a valid, true excuse, but it sounded so unbelievable, I wouldn't have believed it, so I just took the blame for something.
Well, maybe you'll come up with it.
My memory sucks lately. Yeah, I gotta
take a minute to get. We want to walk around the building a little bit.
Yeah, do you
think
mind
about it?
Yeah, I gotta put on my outfit.
Sometimes it helps.
I have my walking outfit.
It helps
I like
to walk
wear.
around a little
Workout
bit.
clothes.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta text my. What the hell was that?
Of course, this dude had no idea. So, okay, I don't know how that got there. Maybe someone put it there while I was asleep. Hilarious. He, of course, had no idea who would put a meth tube under his penis while he was sawing logs, or why. He's a victim of a bizarre act. He's a victim. He was charged with narcotics possession, smuggling contraband into a detention facility, both of which are felonies. Have fun, dude.
Yeah, that
Have a
doesn't help
good
his
time.
case very much.
No, he was going to be in for quite a stretch anyway, but...
Had a couple months on.
Do you think, has it ever been someone's cousin's pants they put on and didn't realize there was drugs in there?
It never has been. But they keep going with that cousin's pants.
What if you wrote your cousin's name in the pants that you're wearing? And then be like, see? Not my pants.
It'd be worth a shot,
That's
Waffle.
genius.
That's a good idea, Waffle.
You know what, Waffle? At least, like I was just bitching about a minute or two ago, at least it would show some creativity, some effort.
Yeah, and I'd be like, look at me. I'm a nerd. I write my, name on my clothing. I have to.
Wait a minute. I mean, you just busted yourself.
Yeah,
Waffle.
I was doing so good.
You're going to jail.
Quit putting your own meth underneath your penis, Waffle.
Yeah, you screwed yourself up there, Wapple.
I really did.
How did you F that up? You had us right in the palm of your hand.
It was perfect.
That's what I do. I should have just stopped there, but I have to keep going.
You should have.
You just kept talking.
Yep.
And it F'd you right in the old...
Stop when you're ahead, kids.
Yeah, has there ever been somebody pulled over for driving a stolen vehicle and a stranger just out of the goodness of their heart actually gave it to them and it was a legit transaction and it was a mistake?
No,
it
it's
wasn't
never
stolen?
happened.
That's never happened
Never,
either, has it?
unfortunately, but they keep going with that story. I don't know if you'd qualify this as a bad excuse exactly, but this just entered my mind. Yeah, I think you would call it a bad excuse. I'll never forget this because it was so friggin' pathetic and so stupid. This is when we were young guys. We were pre-gaming in at my folks' place. We were like high school kids, drinking beers at my folks' place, and we were all going to pile into different vehicles and go to the big party. There was a big house party, maybe 6-8 blocks down the road, right? So we're jamming down Steve Weiser's, getting ready for the kegger. And this one friend of mine, whenever we showed up for a party, he wanted to make sure, he usually drove, he wanted to make sure, he was a very showy guy. Dramatic entrances, that was his thing when we were young. So he wanted to make sure whoever was in his car was the coolest collection of guys that he could come up with, right? You following where I'm going?
Yeah.
So when he showed up, when he got out of the car, at least the idea in his brain was that, oh, look, it's dude. Oh, and it's that other dude. He had to have the coolest, in his mind, characters in his car. Can't have some dork in his car. That would ruin his image, his party guy image or whatever. So we're at my house, and this showy guy, he says, all right, let's go to the party. You know, Donnie, Ronnie, and Steve, you're coming with me, because those were the people that he wanted, the cool guys that he wanted. And one of our buddies, who was kind of a dork, he says, hey, can I jump in with you? And the cool guy goes, no, you wouldn't want to ride with us. And the dorky guy says, well, what do you mean? Ronnie, Donnie, and Steve are going with you. Why can't I jump? And the cool guy says, and again, remember, this party was 6-8 blocks away. The cool guy goes, yeah, we're kind of, I can't even say this is so dumb. We're kind of taking the roundabout way. So you probably wouldn't want to. We're going to kind of take the roundabout way.
What?
Exactly.
Is there any chance that this kid was so naive his feelings weren't hurt?
Oh no, he was hurt. He still brings it up to this day.
Oh, does he?
It was so obvious.
Do the guys still know each other, or is this?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they still do. It was high school, so they got past it, but it was just so dumb. What do you mean you're taking the roundabout? We could walk there. You're convincing this guy somehow. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go on a tour of the city? The roundabout? It was so sad.
Does he still have that theory where he has to have cool guys in his car?
He kind of does.
Well, after that story, I was thinking about it, and Dana, I apologize, but I rescind my offer to drive you to the office Christmas party on Friday.
Yeah.
My rep can't handle that.
Yeah, you don't want to be seen showing up at me.
Nah, so I'm sorry. I'll drop you a block away.
Yeah, I was going to say, you drop me off a couple blocks away, you go in, I'll wait 5-10 minutes, it'll look like I got there on my own.
I will be going the roundabout way, however.
All right, you know what, fine. You guys, I've told stories about my buddy Wang, right?
I love Wang stories.
Wang was the dork.
I bet you do, Dana.
Wang was the dork who was told that he couldn't get in the car because they were going the roundabout way. And as you know, Wang and I still hang out, and every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, dude, you want to go out tonight? And he'll say, sure. And he'll pick me up, and he'll say, you want to take the roundabout way to the bar or what?
That's good.
It's unbelievable.
That's good.
That was just one of the more pathetic moments. How much? Oh, God, we got to go.
Well, we could save some fun stuff for tomorrow.
We can
That's
save
cool.
fun stuff for tomorrow. You're exactly right.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I got a great Hulk Hogan story. It was December 24th. We go to the Thousand Oaks Mall, getting last-minute Christmas gifts for my kids who were at the time sort of 10, 12, and 14. So I put them all in the car, and they had a valet, and I put all my bags in the car, and I drive home. So I get a call around 7 o'clock, and he goes, Wayne? I go, yeah. And he says, Terry. I think his real name was Terry.
Yeah, Terry Bolea.
He goes, we got a problem. I go, what's the problem? He goes, we got the exact same car. I got your car and your presents, and you got my car and my presents. So we drove back halfway together, and we switched the cars out, got the presents, and went home.
Brother. Little story there from Wayne Gretzky. He accidentally stole Hulk Hogan's ride at the Mega Mall there in Los Angeles or whatever, at the shopping mall, because they're both driving the same whip.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have to worry about making that mistake.
No.
If accidentally taking home one of their cars. Probably a lot nicer than what we're driving.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were at the mall that day and you watched them exchange. Did Hulk Hogan just get out of one car and Wayne Gretzky just get out? And then they got into each other's car, and then they're the same kind of you'd think you were on acid or
No
something.
one would ever believe you.
Hey, the Pigs won their first game with their new head coach, John Hines, from the Hines and Berglund morning radio show. Hubba hubba zoot zoot. Anyone have any idea what I'm talking about when I say?
I know of the show, yes.
When I say hubba hubba zoot zoot.
They were legends in the business.
Text me, 68, what's the number?
651-989-9393.
Text me if you know what it means when I say hubba hubba zoot zoot. They won the first game with the new coach, 3-1. They beat St. Louis. We're going to talk to Marcus Foligno here in about a half hour. All right, Marcus Foligno. Wolves won last night. We'll tell you all about that when Randy Shaver and Marcus and everyone joins us. Brad Ryder. But Josh's news is coming up next.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
Half redneck, half posh. 100% fun. Trey Croward and Corey Ryan Forrester try and learn fancy culture in putting on airs.
The host of the Medium Popcorn Podcast, Brandon Collins and Justin Brown.
Okay, so Paddington 2 had like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for years.
You guys ruined that?
Justin came in and like took it down like 2 points because of his rating. That's the time we started getting death threats.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. People worship that movie.
Putting on airs. The podcast is on YouTube and wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
The mother tells the son to go to school and pick up this book bag, which the younger son had left. And when he's there, he's confronted by another young male. They get into an argument. The one that was there already goes home, calls his cousin. They both come back, and then they start to fight.
And then things got crazy. A Miami woman was arrested after hitting her own son with her car.
Oh!
But don't judge her too quickly. She didn't mean to. She was actually attempting to strike 2 other children.
So she had good intentions.
When 33-year-old Quantavia Samuel was arrested Monday, she told police her son called her to tell her he was being jumped. She said one of the attackers was armed with a handgun. So she climbed into her Toyota RAV4 and drove over to the fight.
Calls his mom and says, "Mom, I'm being jumped. They possibly have a gun." The mom, instead of calling police to respond and assist, decides to take law into her own hands, gets to the school, and tries to run over the 2 juveniles, but accidentally hits her son.
After striking her son with the SUV, police say Samuel got out and helped him into the passenger seat. The other 2 kids fled the scene on foot. Samuel allegedly then continued with the vigilante conduct by pursuing the 2 juveniles to one of their houses. Once at the residence, she called police for the first time.
The 2 other juveniles that were there run home. She follows them to their house, where then she does call the police. But by the time she calls the police, the fighting was over and the mother is arrested for battery and assault.
When police questioned Samuel, she said she intended to hit the children who were fighting her son. When asked how she managed to strike her son with the vehicle instead, she said she was trying to get them away from him and missed. She wanted to hit these 2 kids, a police spokesperson said. This is what we say all the time. If there's a problem like this, the correct thing would have been to call the police. And then she can respond, which if we would have been there, we would have prevented all of this, he said. According to a spokesperson, it appears no gun was involved in the altercation. The son was eventually taken to the hospital to be treated for leg and hip pain. He's going to be okay.
It's madness, Josh. Of course, the other kids ran away. They said to themselves, well, Christ, if she'll run over her own kid, what's she going to do to us?
Yeah, I'd be out of there.
I'll show you not to pick on my kid. Crash!
God, help us all.
Crews worked to clear debris left behind from a small plane and vehicle collision on a metro highway yesterday morning.
A plane got involved.
It did, after the pilot of the aircraft was forced to make an emergency landing. A Brooklyn Park Police Department spokesperson said the pilot reported having mechanical issues as he approached the Crystal Airport about 10:30 a.m., telling aviation officials he'd have to make an emergency landing.
The pilot was working through an approach to the airport, was experiencing some mechanical failures with the aircraft, was in contact with the tower, declared an in-flight emergency on approach to Crystal Airport.
Police say the plane lost power as it ran parallel with the southbound lanes of Highway 81, striking power lines before colliding with a passing vehicle and coming to a stop in the road.
While I can't speak to exactly what he was experiencing, the fact that he impacted one vehicle and was able to put the aircraft down probably is a testament to his skill as a pilot.
The pilot, the only occupant of the single-engine Piper PA-28, was treated at the scene for minor injuries. The driver of the vehicle was transported to a hospital, also with minor injuries. The Brooklyn Park Fire Department chief applauded the pilot, saying he was grateful there weren't more serious injuries as a result of that crash.
Can you imagine the look on the face of the car who collided with the airplane?
Which one of y'all hit me?
That didn't make any sense. Not the look on the face of the car, but the driver of the car.
I knew what you meant.
Probably did not expect to encounter an airplane. That's part of the reason why I don't go to Brooklyn Park very often. I know someday I'm going to be hit by an airplane while driving down the road.
You predicted this.
Yeah.
A Michigan resident has been arrested after cops say they chased him on a stolen forklift through the residence of Ann Arbor. And when they pulled the fella from the forklift, they got a pretty big surprise. The driver isn't even a teenager yet. Police were called to Forsyth Middle School about 6:45 p.m. Saturday over a report of a stolen construction vehicle. Just minutes after arriving at the scene, they spotted a forklift driving down the street. They whipped on their emergency lights and sirens and started a pursuit of the forklift, which can be seen trying to outrun a patrol car in police dash cam video.
Sure enough, they saw this big piece of equipment driving down the road. So we were afraid that traffic might actually drive into her to be struck by this very young person driving a vehicle they weren't familiar with. So we were mostly staying with them just to keep it illuminated and warn other drivers as well.
Cops chased after the forklift at speeds of about 15 to 20 miles an hour, during which the forklift hit about 10 other vehicles parked alongside the road. The driver of the forklift, who police say was a 12-year-old boy, finally brought it to a halt about 40 minutes later.
How dangerous could this have been?
This could have been incredibly dangerous. It's a large vehicle. It weighs as much as 35,000 pounds. It's got these giant forks on the front of it.
No one was hurt, and the child was arrested and placed in a juvenile detention center.
What, was he trying to be a hero on Facebook or something?
You know, I don't know. Apparently this kid has quite the rap sheet, even at his young age. So they're hoping they can get him some help.
And I understand that they didn't want to, the police didn't want to be too aggressive with this, but meanwhile, the freaking kid damaged 10 other cars.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Can't do that, kid.
If you ever find yourself on the business end of a police chase, and of course we hope you never are, one of the techniques your pursuing officer might attempt to stop you with is called a pit maneuver. I'm sure you've heard of it. A pursuit intervention technique or precision immobilization technique, or according to UrbanDictionary.com, a word to describe an individual's anus or the act of, quote, having sweet, sweet sex with an armpit. The move, in reference to a police chase, however, is somewhat risky if not executed properly. So pitting a regular vehicle, scary enough, but the stakes become terrifying when the vehicle being pursued is larger than a police cruiser trying to stop it. And that was the case recently in British Columbia when the Royal Canadian Mounted Police used the maneuver in an attempt to stop a fleeing tractor. In the video, the police cruiser appears to swerve away from the John Deere slightly before pulling back toward it, causing it to flip as the tractor rolls over the SUV. These people here caught it on their dash cam.
Holy sweet Lord.
It was quite the sight. Police say the driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Luckily, he's going to be okay. A man in Missouri is in custody after leading police on quite an unusual police pursuit. They say the individual was speeding while hauling a house. It happened Thursday, but video of the pursuit was released yesterday by the Excelsior Springs Police Department.
This is Sergeant Craig with Excelsior Police Department. So we chased this truck down the road. He was going about 30 miles an hour, hauling his big old house. He was traveling all over the roadway. Thought he might have been drunk.
Officials attempted to use stop sticks, but that didn't work. The driver finally stopped after taking out a stop sign, which can be seen in the footage on 93x.com. In this clip, Sergeant Kramer dunked on the drunk.
And then we took him to jail, like Excelsior does. Woo-wee.
That's what they do. Yeehaw. No injuries were reported during the incident. A Bronx woman was busted Monday, November 13th, for allegedly stealing a home from a dead man who had the same name as her deceased father. 35-year-old Mercedes King was hit with a buttload of charges for carrying out the wicked scheme, which allegedly landed her more than $350,000. The defendant allegedly sold the property for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was later discovered she had no rights to the home, the Bronx district attorney said. She allegedly went on a shopping spree, spending the money on a luxury car, home interior design, jewelry, and art, he said. King sunk her claws into the home April 2020, just over 3 years following her father's death, Edward King Jr. The home belonged to a recently deceased Edward L. King Jr., who had no relation to King or her deceased father. But she claimed she was the heir to the property and sold it in February for $480,000, of which over $350,000 was wired directly to her bank account. Using the funds, she treated herself to uninhibited shopping sprees, including an Audi Q8, a $10,000 payment to her brother to be her personal driver as well.
Are you kidding me? She got herself a driver?
Yeah, okay.
Her brother.
She's accused of using the money to buy $17,500 in interior design services. They charge that much?
Yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah, that stuff is expensive.
$17,000 worth of luxury jewelry and $6,000 of artwork. After her attorney realized she had no rights to the home, she was asked to return the money, but she refused. Her scheme was brought to an end a couple weeks ago when she was arrested for that theft.
Wow, that's a sleazy thing to do right there. And what the hell what do you folks know about fancy interior design? Do I need to make a visit to your house and check this out or what?
No.
I'd be the worst interior designer of all time.
I do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I bet you do, Ashley. Yeah, for sure.
I love that kind of stuff.
But I think he's asking, how do you know it's pricey?
Right.
I would never know how much it
I have a friend that does that. She she also decorates, will decorate people's houses for the holidays, which that would be a dream job of mine.
Yeah, I heard an interview once with a guy who he grew up here, and he was really good at it, decorating trees, like the holiday decorating.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's asking him to help. And so he ends up going to California, and he said what he found out was the more he charged, the more business he got. Everybody just assumed he'd be awesome at it. Apparently he really was. But I guess he's, just the holiday season, he's making an entire year's worth of money.
That makes sense, yep. People see that big price tag, and they're like, oh, he must be great at it
Yeah, he's got to be awesome if he charges that much. A Florida woman found herself behind bars after allegedly using counterfeit bills at Walmart and then trying to eat the fake money when being detained by police. A Walmart loss prevention officer was notified a customer, later identified as 38-year-old Zipporah Abraham, was trying to use fake money to pay for items Sunday. When Walmart employees looked at the store's surveillance footage, they realized this wasn't the first time she was involved in an incident at the same store. She was seen hiding several products in a storage bin and pacing back and forth until she found a window of opportunity to leave. She allegedly walked past all points of sale with the storage bin, but was stopped by a loss prevention officer and taken to the loss prevention office for an investigation. There it was discovered the unpaid items in the storage bin totaled about $1,000. When an arresting officer asked her to remove the jewelry from her wrist before being placed into custody, she put $200 worth of counterfeit bills in her mouth and tried to eat them.
That's hilarious. I'd like to see that.
Me too. A Winston-Salem man's been arrested after he followed a woman home from a store and then hid under her car. On Sunday, deputies said they responded to a report regarding a suspicious person. They said the suspect, 25-year-old Trevor Lewis, was found beneath a woman's vehicle.
He claimed that he was looking for his lost dog. We are continuing to investigate this. We do feel that there may be some more victims out there that hasn't come forward yet.
After investigating, officials learned Lewis followed her home from Walmart.
The female observed the male at the Walmart. When she got home, she was approached by the same male that she had observed at the Walmart, so this is not a common case of stalking.
Police are urging the public to be aware of their surroundings, especially during the holiday season. They said if you suspect someone's following you, call 911 or go to a secure location, such as a police department.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Said he was looking for his lost dog down there, huh?
Yeah, just hiding under the car, I guess.
Kirby! Kirby!
You imagine seeing something like that and followed you?
What movie? Boomerang.
It's all fun and games until someone poops in a rock icon's marijuana.
Oh, no.
On a new episode of the Osbournes podcast, the family recalled a time when Sharon Osbourne took a lady dump in Ozzy Osbourne's marijuana stash.
Why would she do that?
Seemingly to discourage him from smoking while on a 1995 vacation at the Four Seasons Hotel in Hawaii. Sharon first asked her daughter Kelly to do it. And when Kelly said no, she conjured up a good one of her own.
I found it. I came to Mum, showed it to her, and then she's like, "Kelly, do you need to go to the toilet?" And I said, "No, I'm not doing this again for you. I'm too old now. I'm not going to in Dad's drugs."
Not again.
What?
Everybody gets one. You get one.
As you can imagine, Ozzy wasn't too happy about it. The musician's reaction wasn't exactly subtle. He knocked a door off the hinges at the hotel out of anger. According to Sharon, the incident wasn't the only time she'd taken to dirtying one of his vices.
He wouldn't stop drinking one time, and he was drinking brandy, and I just got the bottle and rubbed it around my... And then he took a swig, and then he went back again, and then he was like... He looked at me, and he goes, "You didn't." And I go, "I did."
Yes.
That's a little crazy.
She's been trouble from the get-go.
Yeah. To get him to stop drinking... She took the bottle and rubbed it around her anus. Ozzy wasn't around to share his side of the story, but he's gone in depth about his own bodily excretion stories in the past. Last month, he revealed on an Osbournes podcast episode he used to pee his pants on stage, arguing that he was wet anyway. Why not?
Yeah, they're kind of a gross crowd, the Osbournes.
Can be.
That's nasty.
I'm not doing that again.
I know, I'm not going to spend the night at their place anytime soon.
I'm so tired of pooping in Dad's marijuana.
Yes.
According to a new book published yesterday called Outrageous, A History of Showbiz and the Culture Wars in the 1970s and 80s. According to a new book published yesterday called Outrageous, A History of Showbiz and the Culture Wars in the 1970s and 80s, Family Feud contestants used to be tested for herpes before going on the show.
Oh, sure, and you can go ahead and tell the young people why.
This was when Richard Dawson was the host from 1976 to 1985. If you're old enough, you may remember Richard used to kiss all the female contestants directly on the lips. It was creepy.
It was.
And because of that, both male and female contestants were ordered to undergo a mouth test for the happies.
That's hilarious.
The policy began because people complained about all the promiscuous kissing on the show and the many diseases that could result. We should have that here. Not that there's any canoodling going on, but I would be curious to see who has what. And see who'd win.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
We laughed at our boss when he said he had an STD.
Yes, we did.
We laughed in his face.
He did not appreciate it.
No, he didn't.
But we kept laughing.
But that's what you have to do.
Appreciated.
He eventually did appreciate it.
Yes, he did.
That was a side effect of the STD.
God, that was great.
It made him.
If I remember right, Josh, he told us he had an STD, and we kind of walked out of his office and then did a double take and kind of said, "Wait a minute, did he just say he?" And we went right back in.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
we were first like, "Oh, sorry to hear that." And we're like, "All right, man, take care." And we walked out and thought, we've missed out on a great comedy opportunity.
This is great.
Wait a minute, I got to go back in there.
I guess we kind of proved we weren't listening altogether thoroughly at first, but we had to go back in and say, "Okay, wait a minute, tell us all about this."
Or maybe we're good people for the first few seconds, and then the evil kicks in. Could be that, too.
That was fun. It's always fun when you learn out that your boss has a sexually transmitted disease.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Eddie Murphy is tonight's guest on Jimmy Kimmel. Jared Spurgeon of the Minnesota Wild, 34 today.
Yeah, I bet he still gets carded for chew.
Yeah, he looks so young, doesn't
Jared
he?
friggin' Spurgeon. Who? Mr. Who?
Mr. Sierra.
Who?
Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, 35 today.
Mr. Sierra.
The drummer of the Police cover band Scrantonicity, a.k.a. Kevin from The Office. Brian
That's a deep
Bumgarner.
reference. I love it.
51. That's not that deep. I think we all know that. Actor Don Cheadle, 59. Minnesota high school, college, and professional hockey legend Neil Broughton, 64 today.
Is it Neil Broughton's friggin' birthday?
Show is.
That gives me good feelings.
And he loves puppies. Legendary professional wrestling announcer Jerry the King Lawler, 74.
F me.
Happy birthday to For Crying Out Loud Jesus from vintage video game collector Jesus, and that's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
Cornhole capital of the world.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Football can put you in a world of pain.
particularly when you get hit below the equator.
I got drilled last week. The first play of the game, he slips out and elbowed me in my manhood. I had to act like it didn't hurt. It hurt like a mother, and I got hit in the so I feel like I'm gonna puke right now.
Who was that got elbowed in the pills?
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels.
Yeah, the coach of the Dolphins. Hard Knocks. Anybody besides me watching?
I haven't watched it yet.
Haven't
No,
watched it.
He's quite the character.
he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny.
John Leguizamo was separated at birth.
John
Brother.
Leguizamo and Mike McDaniel do look a little bit alike. Yeah, I've seen some funny things from the guy. Isn't he smokes weed on the sideline or something, right?
He's been accused of vaping on the sideline. I don't know what he's vaping.
Vaping on the sideline. He got elbowed in the pills at practice as a coach?
As in a game.
In a game.
Yeah.
He was a player?
No, he was on the sideline. This just happened last week. See, as a head coach, he's on the sideline.
Yeah.
And there was a player that bowled right into him and elbowed him in the special purpose.
What are you laughing at, Randy? You're not even in the state of Minnesota.
Good Lord, I got to explain everything to you this morning.
Hey, we need to wish Randy a happy anniversary today.
Today's your anniversary?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, that
How long
explains
is
the
it?
trip, huh?
Scrolling Facebook every once in a while pays off.
What's the deal here now? Randy Shaver's in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I forgot where you're at, Randy.
Palm Springs.
I'm in Palm Springs, California.
Brazil, California.
Right, Brazil.
That's why you went out of town for your stinking anniversary. Brad Ryder's been stalking you on Facebook. How many years has it been, Brad was asking, or someone was?
I'm going to guess, I think I saw a post yesterday. Is it 36 years?
37.
37?
Oh, that's impressive.
Wow. It's terrible.
That's what you have to look forward to, Nick.
Well, the good news for me is I'll be dead within 30. I mean, by God, there's no way. There's no way my marriage will last 37 years. For God's sake, I'll be.
Oh, you never know.
I'll be dead long before that.
Nah, you'll be fine. She'll keep you alive.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah, she'll keep you alive.
Well, maybe in dog years, Nick. Maybe you'll get there in dog years.
That's you might laugh at me for not knowing what's going on with Mike McDaniels, but I can give you this solid advice. Don't get married for real until you turn 52. that way you avoid saying, oh my damn, I've been married for 37 years.
Yeah, you might not make it, but I think, you probably could. I sure hope so.
I'll try my best for you, Cubby.
That would be a hell of a party if you make it to 37 years. You'd be 99.
You'd be a fool to lose her even in death. You can't die. You'd be a fool to do something like that. You want to spend more time with her. By the way, I've been looking for an excuse to play this Family Guy clip from a couple weeks ago. It's not the greatest clip, but it's about an anniversary. And so this becomes a perfect opportunity.
There he is. Here comes the groom.
Geez, even you guys know it's my anniversary? How is that possible?
It's easy. I follow your wife.
You mean on Instagram? Yep.
And there we go. Quagmire.
37 years, Randy. What can you tell us, looking back, what can you tell us about the honeymoon? Get into
or the
detail.
Wedding night.
Or the wedding night.
Well, let's see. She had to tell her father that her dad wanted us to come back to their house for our wedding night. And we basically, you have to remember, her father was 100% Italian and didn't understand that we were going to be staying our wedding night at a hotel. He thought that was stupid, that we should be staying at their house. So we basically had to escape from our wedding reception to go off to the hotel.
In order to get your hands on each other. I mean, what is he? Was he a priest or something? How did he not understand?
Oh, no. No, just, he didn't understand that his daughter was not going to come home from the party.
Interesting.
Basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. All those years ago.
Yes, sir.
That's a hell of a deal, Randy Shaver. Hell of a deal. We will be chatting with Marcus Foligno here in about 15 minutes from the Man Bear Pigs.
That ought to be good.
Yeah, we got our Minnesota Wild update coming up. So we better cover the this and the that. But not that we can't have some of these conversations with Marcus, but you know what I'm saying. They got some good news last night. They got a win. They got a new. We'll get into all that with Marcus. The Wolves picked up a win last night at home over Oklahoma City.
Fantastic.
It was a tough one. They won by 3, close game more or less all the way through. They weren't at their best, but they got her done. Probably a game they would have lost last season.
Oh, easily a game they would have lost last season, especially when Ant went down and didn't play the fourth quarter. I just have to say something. That Shea Gillis is just a fantastic basketball player. I've watched him certainly when he was with the Clippers. And I've watched him a few times, but when you put him with that group, with Chet Holmgren and those guys, man, is he good. He's so damn smooth. He's just so good. And when you put him against Ant, what a great matchup between those two guys. I mean, Ant's a little bit more physical than Gillis-Alexander, but God darn it. The guy is such a smooth basketball player.
That team is legitimately good, too. They've got a ton of draft picks coming up over the next few years, too. And they've not only stockpiled the draft picks, but they've used them well, like you said, with that guy and a couple other ones. And they're legitimately a good team.
He's very good, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You've swung from his jock on this program before, Randy. Did they get all those draft picks when they dealt the Durantula? Is that how they got all those draft picks?
That was part of it. Yeah, that was part of it. And I guess my question is, how do they use? They're going to have to trade some of those picks. They have so many stockpiled first-round picks in the next 5 years. I just don't know how you even use all of them to, get to where you want to go. And I'm not sure, Brad. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they're going to go out and look for and I'll just use him as an example. Trade picks for a Durant. Someone like that. I don't think they're interested in that. I think they love to build from within, and I
think they're going to have to trade some, but I don't think they're going to trade those picks for somebody like Durant. They'll probably trade them for somebody on a team not in playoff contention, but a good player, a good solid player, a bench type of guy.
Player.
Yes. Yep.
Well, there you go.
They're really good. They're going to potentially very, very good team.
Troy Brown Jr., who's getting some minutes because of the injury to Jaden McDaniels, dumped 17 points on the Thunder last night. He had a couple of big baskets late in the game.
He saved them.
Good for you, Troy Brown Jr. And I saw him interviewed after the game. He seems like a nice kid. Rudy was solid last night. As Randy Shaver mentioned, there was a big scare in the third quarter when Ant went down. He had a hard crash onto the floor. He went up in the air and got all kitty wampus, came down on the floor. Seems to be okay. He came out and sat on the bench for the fourth quarter. He did not play.
I got a feeling he'll probably sit for a couple of games.
Oh, that's the way they always do it. Yeah, that's the way they always do it. I mean, for God's sake, now, not trying to disregard what happened to Ant, but, your star player, has a wet fart and they sit him for 2 games.
He'll be sore for a couple of days, so.
Yes. I have to say, though, I love this in-season tournament. I don't understand all the rules.
No,
I don't
nobody
understand.
does.
But you know what? I watched a ton of games last night because they have like a sports bar here, so there was a bunch of games on the screen, and the games that mattered last night to get into the tournament, the Boston game, the Knicks game, fun, man. I mean, the guys are playing defense, they're working hard. There's money on the line.
They've got to do something about how teams qualify for this wild card. Yes, because you probably saw the Boston game a little bit, and that was kind of ridiculous. So they've got to do something about that. But
here's the thing, Randy. It's funny how you said that, because I think every basketball fan would say the same thing. They've enjoyed this in-season tournament, but no one really knows exactly how it works.
Well, and you know what? That's okay, though, because what it's done, Nick, is it has invigorated the players early in the season for a few games to play their butts off on both ends of the floor, and man, that's fun to see. I mean, I know there's big money at the end of the rainbow here for whatever teams get to Vegas and all that kind of stuff, but man, it's just fun to see teams go all out as opposed to what we normally would see in early December
Right.
in the NBA.
The Wolves did not advance in the in-season tournament thing.
No.
Because of a point differential vibe, okay? But Randy Shaver, okay, you just got done saying how much you love the in-season tournament. What do you think about this? The Wolves did qualify for some consolation round games. That'll be coming up next week.
Yeah, if you don't make the in-season tournament, if you don't make the in-season tournament, then you get 2 games added to your schedule, so that the teams that are in the tournament don't end up playing 3 additional games.
Will you be just as excited for the consolation round?
These count for the regular season.
Well, of course they count for
Yeah.
the regular.
Here's the deal, Nick. I don't have tickets to the consolation round. If I did have tickets, I would be excited.
What do you mean? Well, do you know anybody who? I know someone who would go with you if you got tickets to the.
Well, and they got a pretty good draw for these consolation games too. They're playing San Antonio and Memphis. I mean, good grief, there's 2 more wins.
That's going to give away tickets? 'Cause if there is, I'm listening.
Yep, that's right. There'll be a radio. I bet you we'll get those at the promotions department this afternoon. Tickets to the consolation round of the in-season. Next up in the.
I'm very excited to give them away.
Oh yeah, we'll be pumped about that. Next up in the regular season schedule is a game against Utah at home tomorrow night. So there you go. Oh, what do you think about this now? The Golden Gopher Football Club will hold an open competition for their starting quarterback job in 2024, as this year's starter, Ethan Kaliakmanis, doesn't plan to be part of the program next year.
Can anyone try out?
This is exactly.
It's like those twins tryout camps back in the day.
Yeah, I've got college eligibility left.
You know, I'm not great
This
at
is
football, but I'd
exactly
like a
what's
shot.
wrong with college football.
Kaliakmanis.
Exactly what's wrong with college football.
I agree with you, Randy Shaver. He started every game for the Gophers this season, and it wasn't terrific, but he will now enter the completely out-of-control NCAA transfer portal when it opens, I think, on Monday.
This is exactly what's wrong with college sports. Exactly what's wrong with college football. And it's a symptom, and again, we've talked about this before, of this generation of athletes, that if things don't go my way, I'm going to pick up my ball and my bat. I'm going to go somewhere else because I've done that before during my career, whether it's been AAU or mom and dad have let me go here or go there. Nobody's learning anything. Nobody's learning how to tough it out. Nobody's learning how to
overcome adversity.
Work
your way to success.
You know what? I'm going to go somewhere else. And look at the numbers. The percentage of players who go into the transfer portal end up either not finding a team or end up not playing again when they go to the next team. It's a very select number, a few players who actually have success once they leave one team to go to another in the transfer portal.
But it's always been okay in college sports for coaches to kind of pack up their ball and leave and go find a better place.
Though. That's different.
I don't see how it's different.
It's different.
I see it as different as well.
Yeah,
coaches aren't in school. Coaches aren't going to class. It's totally different. This thing is so out of control.
It's wildly out of control. I agree with everything you said, Randy Shaver. So, come next football season, they'll have a pile of kids trying to get that gig. Some kid from New Hampshire. Where did I read this?
Yep.
The Gophers have
really good player.
Verbal commitment from a quarterback. Well, I had this and I lost it. Where's this kid from?
Oh, you're right.
Max Brosmer, a junior at New Hampshire. I guess he just throws the living hell out of the football.
Yep.
So whatever. We'll see what happens. Well, hey, you know who they still have on the roster? Raster isn't a word. You know who they still have on the roster? Jim Shickenchansky's kid.
Yep.
Well, he's only a freshman.
He's only a freshman. Oh, that's my Dick Vitale. When Dick Vitale was young. Oh. I don't know anything about Max Shickenchansky except he's a college football quarterback.
Walk on freshman
from Stillwater. But I get excited because I get excited anytime we can talk about a member of the Golden Gopher basketball team from the late '80s. His dad, Jim Shickenchansky, and Willie Burton and Richard Coffey and Melvin Newburn. And who am I missing from that era? Kevin Lynch. Those guys were such a thrilling team to watch. So You guys know the story about when Jim Shickenchansky found his way into the studios here one day. I made a fool. I made a fool out of myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, sort of. He at the time, I don't know what the man does for a living now, but at the time, Jim Shickenchansky was working for a beer rep here in town.
I think he still does.
Yeah.
And good for him. So we had some kind of hubbub in the building. Maybe the Shickenchansky's brand of beer was trying to become a sponsor for this event or that event, or we were trying to talk them into partnering with us. Somehow, the man ends up in the building. And someone runs into the studio. Josh, I think, odds are you were sitting right here with me, of course. And someone walked in and said, Jim Shickenchansky's in the building. And I said, where is he? I'm a total dork out fan, right? And I go running over to where he's sitting, and I said, Schick! And he goes, yeah. I scared the hell out of him, number one. And I said, I was at the barn when you beat Iowa in '89, when Iowa was number 2 in the country. I was at the barn when you tipped that rebound in and beat Iowa. And he goes, you're kidding. I was there too. How about some accolades? Some accolades for some Golden Gopher football players. The kicker, Dragan Kesic, and a safety, Tyler Nubin, were named to the All Big Ten team. That's good for them.
Good. Yes. Very impressive.
The kicker, Kesic.
Need a few more of those guys.
Yeah, they do. Big kid, the left-footed kicker. He also won Big Ten Kicker of the Year. So there were some good things that came out of this season. I know a lot of folks are kind of bummed out at the good for...
I will say this. That the Kalikmanis kid, did not have a great year. He was serviceable, has potential to be a good player, but we saw a full season of him.
Right.
I'm going to sit here and say, is he the guy? I don't blame P.J. Fleck for saying, let's have an open competition. I don't think he certainly deserves the opportunity to come back and defend his starting position, but I don't blame P.J.
If this type of performance were at the NFL level, the NFL head coach would say the same thing. I mean, yeah, you were okay, but we're going to go try to find somebody better. If somebody better steps up, then...
The whole idea is for him to work on getting better,
Right.
but now he doesn't do that. He transfers to go somewhere else, and who knows what that means for him. It's just dumb.
It'll be interesting to see who plays in the bowl game.
Well,
it's going to be the kid from Eden Prairie.
Kramer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kramer.
Sure.
Cosmo Kramer, I think it's his name.
No, that's a character from Seinfeld.
You're right. The kid from Eden Prairie is his 5th year. He mainly is a running quarterback. They say when they play in a bowl game, he'll likely get the snap skis. So, further football stuff. Justin Jefferson's back in the mix now.
Sounds like
I
it.
think he was activated. They had 21-day window to do all that.
They had to do it by, I think, yesterday even.
Not that they have anything coming up. They don't play this weekend, but he's practicing again and all that. I don't know if he's just making noise for motivation here, but the head coach of the Vikings, that O'Connor dude, he says he might switch up the quarterbacks come their next game against the Raiders.
I think that's a
Don't
good
blame
idea.
him.
I think it's the same.
Don't blame him.
Same concept we just talked about with the Gophers. I mean, Dobbs was awful Monday. So, open it up. Let's see what the other guy can do.
Yeah, what the hell?
The other guy actually, if it's Hall, and I think, is that who they're talking about, or Mannion?
Yeah, Hall, Scott Hall.
Okay. That's not Scott.
No, that's a
But I think
Arsenio Hall.
No, that's a comedian.
Monty Hall.
It's Monty Hall.
No, it's not Monty Hall either.
Go ahead, Randy Shaver.
Halsey Hall.
Yes, it's Halsey.
Daryl Hall.
Yeah.
Who can't be near John Oates?
They're not fans of each other.
We didn't talk about that yet.
John Oates can't play center if Daryl Hall's the quarterback.
Jaron, I think is the name. Is it Jaron?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. If it's him, go ahead, Randy.
Well, if it's him, obviously, before he got hurt in that game, he drove the Vikings right down the field. So, if there's a kid that's got a future with them, it's likely this guy.
Okay.
It doesn't mean he's the answer, but I don't blame Kevin O'Connell for wanting to do that. But what the heck? You're 6-6. I mean, you got to find some answer here because you're running out of time. We got 5 games.
The ceiling for this team is going to be sneaking into the playoffs and getting beat in the first round. So if that's the ceiling, you might as well see what that other guy's got.
How quickly things can change, right?
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas, 2 weeks ago we were ready to put Josh Dobbs in the Hall of Fame, you know.
Oh my God!
People were lining up to buy his jersey at the pro shop.
They're making T-shirts.
T-shirts. Kids were shaving their eyebrows off.
Like that. Brad, I don't think Brad was on when I said this the other day, or maybe he was. But I said that he was better off not knowing the play.
Yeah, you're right. Kevin O'Connell better go back to explaining every play in the headset, I think.
Here's a guy who's probably got some comments on that dust-up between Hall and Oates. We bring Marcus Foligno into the mix for our Wild update. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're
Nice to
doing
have you
good.
back.
Yeah, we're acting silly today. Everyone's a little silly. We were just talking about football. We were talking about the NFL. Let me ask you something. When your club got a win last night, and we're going to get to that. Don't get me wrong. But you guys were struggling for a while. Did the Vikings' performance on Monday Night Football make you feel any better about your team's current situation?
When I turned it on and I saw it was 6-3, yeah, I thought it was a hockey game. I mean, it made us feel like we needed to go get a win for this city. So
there you go.
We're glad that we provided that last night.
That's what you did. Hell yeah! Look at the big picture. Marcus watched that ball game, the Vikes game, and said, "We got to do something positive for this town."
People are counting on us. Come on.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You went out and beat St. Louis last night. It's been tough times for your club, and now the coach, Dean Evison, is fired. That's got to be a tough situation for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it's been it's been a tough couple weeks, and we really felt like we had a trip to Sweden, and we kind of found our game a little bit there, and then we came back, and we're still not getting the wins, and it's just like, man, this thing's just snowballing a little bit more and more, and it just gets tough to stop. And you know what? Dean's a great coach. Bob Wood's a great coach, great people, and that's the tough part. You see some guys have to move on because of the way things are panning out here. So, it's a shakeup, and we responded well last night, and I think, it's just we realized that we're a group that's a lot better than what our record shows, and we need to take that, and usually the coach is the one that was the fall on the sword for that, unfortunately, but we're excited to kind of get going here, and we had a great game last night, and hopefully that it's a boost of confidence and goes in the right direction now.
I think everybody believes that you guys are much better than your record indicates right now.
Absolutely. I think that's what the belief is in the room too. I mean, it's just, you know what? I don't think Bill Guerin's going to be making any changes if he doesn't think that we're a team that can play in the playoffs and can be a good team in the playoffs. And I've seen it. I've been on a team before where you kind of just hang on and say, hey, this is our season. We're not the greatest team. We're not going to put ourselves in jeopardy. And everyone in that room just feels like, you know what? Like, this isn't who we are. This isn't our record. This isn't how this season should be panning out so far. So, well, ticked off guys in that room, and we're determined to turn it around and show people that we're a playoff hockey team.
A pissed-off hockey club can make for a good hockey club, can't it, Marcus Foligno?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to control your emotions, but I mean, I think that's the one thing that's great about our room is, yeah, everyone's ticked off. There's no feeling sorry for yourself, and if you feel sorry for yourself, it's a tough league to win in. Any league is like that. So it's just one of those things where we got a lot of guys, we got a lot of veteran leadership in our room too that knows how to play the right way and can lead guys out of a hole, and we got to get on a roll now for sure to catch up in the standings.
What do you know about John Hines, the new coach? Have you had experiences with this guy before?
You know what? No, I mean, just playing against him. I mean, we played against him in New Jersey when he was there, then Nashville, obviously, last year and the year before. And from what I heard from some other players that I know around the league, just very detailed, very, the video, things like that, the breakdowns. Like, he's just very detailed and doesn't leave anything kind of, untouched. There's no gray area with him, and he explains you to why you do things and where you should be, and it's been a good talk so far ever since he came in. Very good speaker with us, and motivated us kind of to understand the position that we're in, and but we're all in this together. So from just quick 24 hours of getting to know him, I mean, he seems like a really good voice and has the right mindset for coming in this time of the year.
See, I don't like details. Details scare me.
Well, video is good, but too much video, it's a little bit crazy. I mean, you gotta love when coaches press the pause button and then they say you should be here instead of here. So it gets a little bit out of hand. But no, I think the stuff that he's bringing to our team is going to be great.
When Dean Evison was fired, did you consider stepping up and offering your role as a player coach, like Reg Dunlop?
I mean, Dino's given us the room a couple times just to hash it out. So I feel like I've done that numerous times before with Spurgeon. So, but that'd be a first in the AHL. I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I think you'd make a great player coach.
I just keep throwing our line over the boards and just
Yeah, you're on the power play. You're killing penalties. You're playing what do you do? What do you do in the overtime? 3-on-3.
Playing a little goalie here and there.
Yeah, Flowers job. They're playing there.
Yeah, you got Gustafson and Flower on the bench. Foligno's between the pipes. It's just...
No one's played all 60 minutes yet, so that could be a first.
Wait, when did Foligno put on a ref's uniform? He's reffing the game?
No, that's one job I will not touch. That's
it's a tough gig being the ref.
Guys get heckled.
Is this a joke now with the leaf blower?
He's a big Wild fan, apparently. So
Is that you, Josh, or is that for real?
No, it's the guy.
It's there's frost on the ground.
What are we doing?
I know. I can't wait for the first snowfall.
Can you hear that, Marcus? Can you hear that in the background?
No, I'm like someone in my neighborhood doing something.
No,
it's our buddy
Someone's
Brad.
sleep blowing?
Yeah, it's our buddy Brad at his office over there. And where are you, Brad?
In Roseville.
In Roseville, he's got a stalker that's also a leaf blower that won't stop. Every morning we have to
During
listen.
the 45 minutes I'm on every day, he magically appears pretty much every day.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So you got the win last night. You won't be playing with Ryan Hartman for another game now. He was suspended. He gave a little slew foot to one of the Detroit Red Wings. Is that how you saw it play out? Did he give him the slew foot, Marcus?
No, I'm going to say absolutely not. I don't think he's guilty at all. Ryan Hartman is one of the best guys I have on your team, and not the best guy to be playing against. He is. You know what? It was a tough call. I mean, if we all know Hartsey, we kind of figure out what he's doing. But if it's such a fast game. I think I think he was going to get suspended. I thought maybe fined or something like that. But it's just a play, I guess, in this league now where slew footing is such a dangerous thing, right? You take your guys' legs out, it can be dangerous for them. So it's just one of those things. But it's not easy on the bank count when you get suspended. So I mean, it's unfortunate for him.
What is the going rate? I mean, look, here's what it says, Marcus, and what I read about Ryan Hartman. He dumped a slew foot on a player for the Red Wings in your game Sunday. It says here he's been suspended twice and fined 6 times in his career, which considers him a repeat offender. So he'll miss. He missed last night. He'll miss the next game in Nashville. So what if you're a first-time offender? What kind of a fine are you looking at? 10, 15, 20,000? What do they do to you guys?
The max in our league is 5,000.
Oh, it's not as much as I thought.
Wow, that's not as much as I thought either.
No, it's definitely not as much. First time offense. It can only get up to 5,000. We negotiate that in the Players Association so we can save a little bit of money because I think we'll get guys like Brad Marchand who donate about $1 million to the league. So. It's just one of those things. When obviously you're a second-time offender, then it goes into a suspension offense, and then I think that's where it gets pricier because they take away games, and game checks are a lot bigger than just regular days. So it's tough. It's not easy. I got suspended 2 years ago for kneeing. Well, I don't think I need them, but I need a guy after a fight. So I don't know. I did a little UFC kind of martial arts on him after, but and that got me 2 games as well. And yeah, it hurts. You're just like, I would like to take this back right now, but you can't. So you learn your lesson the hard way, I guess.
I remember that when you dumped the knee on a guy. I like that move.
Yeah, I was just pinning him down. They said I need him in the head. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
You're just trying to get up. You're just trying to leverage yourself to get up.
Use his skull as leverage to. I remember that. That was a 2-gamer. Well, tell us, Marcus, how would you like to be suspended next? Do you have any ideas for your next suspension? Maybe something a little out of the ordinary?
I mean, I don't know, like jumping off the bench from the top ropes or something like that, or like going and jumping into someone else's bench. I mean, I don't know, something you don't want to get some dirty suspension. I think something that we've never seen before, right? So
yeah.
But
you don't have to drop names, but I'm just curious: is there one guy in the league that would be worth getting suspended for in your mind?
I'm going to say the answer is Nick Foligno.
Yeah. Stay tuned Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you play your brother's team coming up. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question because there's a couple guys I can think of. I mean, there's definitely one guy that's. I think because he plays a physical role too, but this Radko Gudas in Anaheim, you'd like to run him out through the wall. I mean, I got a list here in my pocket, but I don't worry.
Now this is almost coming off like Slapshot. This is almost coming off like Slapshot when a bounty was placed on. We could all end up in the clinker for this. Can't put a bounty on a man's head. You know, the Kachuk brothers looked like they looked like they were getting ready to fight each other the other night. Florida played. Who were they playing? Who's the other? The Kachuk. Ottawa. The Kachuk brothers looked like they might fight the other night. So I've got high hopes for you and your brother on Sunday.
Yeah, those guys are a little bit loony. I think their grandmother was in the crowd and she was like scared to death. She couldn't believe it. She was so pissed off. I saw it.
Yeah, I saw that video too.
So that was pretty comical.
Marcus is right. You should see the footage of what was her name? Evelyn. She's got an old lady's name too. It was just adorable. Brady and help me out with the names. I always forget the names. The kids.
Matthew and
Brady. Playing on opposite clubs. They looked like they were a lot of jaw jacking, a lot of rough stuff in that game. And the camera caught Grandma Kachuk in the crowd, and she was not happy.
Just give you that disappointed grandma look.
Yeah, most definitely.
Geraldine Kachuk. That's hilarious.
She looked like she was ready to head back home and make a tea and call.
Marcus, do you want to touch this Blackhawks story at all with a 10-foot pole?
Honestly, I'm you guys probably rolling your eyes, but I don't know all the details, and it's just unfortunate. I think it's just a situation. That organization's been under a lot of stress, obviously, the past couple of years. So I think anything they get across their desk is a little bit. They have to really do due diligence on it. So,
would you rather I bring it up after you're on the after you leave the air? Maybe bring it up tomorrow instead. Would it make you more comfortable if I left you out of it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. We'll cover it tomorrow. Then we'll cover it tomorrow. It's an interesting story.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We won't make you a part of it at all. It's an interesting story, but I totally understand you wanting to. Back to football real quick as we're chatting here with Marcus Foligno, really, from the Wild. We started off a little bit talking about football, talking about the Vikes. Tell me what you think of this. Did this really, now first off, someone check this out for me because I don't know if it's really true. A listener told me that, Marcus, remember Phillip Rivers, longtime NFL quarterback?
Yep.
A listener told me that last week Phillip Rivers produced his 10th child.
That's true.
I think it was... Yeah, it was longer ago than that, but yes, that is true.
Oh.
I was about to say, is this a guy with 18 kids? That's insane.
You have two or three children, Marcus?
I got 2 and then one on the way in February.
Oh, nice.
Just
need 7 more to catch up.
I got 2.
7 more.
and that's a lot right now. So I can imagine 10.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine such a thing. I don't think any of us could imagine such a thing.
No.
I thought this was back in October or so.
Oh, it was
a
while
back.
Okay, I'm sorry if 10 children the guy has now.
I mean, they must be just coming out like hot in the football. I mean, it's insane.
Like those nesting dolls. There's another one. Oh man, there's another one.
What's the age range of his kids?
That's a great question. Let's see, maybe Wapple or Dana or someone
looking it up.
The age ranges.
Because he's got to have
a teenager. You'd
or
think
older teens. I would think at this point.
Yeah. We'll check that out.
So they have the newborn, and then the others range between 5 and 21.
Oh, wow.
5 and 21.
Way too much.
Do you know anybody like that, Marcus, who's just got a gang of them going like that?
I mean, I think
relatives or anything?
I think a couple farms have them. No, I mean back in I got some uncles and aunts. One uncle has they got 12 kids that he come from, but that's back in Canada, and it's crazy. There's a couple twins in the family, things like that, right? So I don't know. That's insane. And to be doing that during in a career, that's God bless. Good for him.
I think we would often joke around about Phillip Rivers, and because he hung on forever. He played for a lot of years. I think we used to joke around about how the reason why he sticks around is because the sumbitch don't want to go home.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going back to that household. There's 9 kids there.
Can you imagine that scene? Unbelievable.
I heard he was one of the best trash talkers too.
Yeah, but
really?
And always clean as a whistle too,
because he's super religious.
Yeah. He was the guy.
He would throw like a long bomb, and then he would yell at one of the biggest defensive lineman's face as he's walking up the field. I'm like, that takes a lot of balls to do that.
Yeah. But he was like the quarterback you'd see on NFL films where he'd be upset on the sideline and he'd say, "Confound it," or something like that, right? Son of a biscuit, things like that. It brings speaking of these wild age ranges, it always makes me want to mention, Marcus, I don't know if you're familiar, you're not very old, one of the greatest rock bands of all time, the Scorpions. Rock You Like a Hurricane, if that rings a bell to you at all, Marcus?
Yep.
And one of my favorite musicians in that band is Rudolf Schenker, their rhythm guitar player, Rudolf Schenker. He was interviewed rock stars, of course, are usually pretty busy, making friends on the road, if you know what I mean. And the guy, he's had a 50-year career in the music business now or something like that. So a few years ago, he was interviewed, and he was asked how many kids he has, and the answer was 14 or something like that. And the interviewer asked him, what are the age ranges? And he said, this is all I can tell you. I don't remember all the details. But he said what is Rudolf Schenker now? Probably 75, 6 years old?
Yeah.
He said his youngest was 7 and his oldest was 53 or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's 75.
Oh my God.
The Brotherhood's checking in on the topic. Millennial Steel Cutter Jesus said his girlfriend's sister, she's 33, she's got 10 kids all a year apart. She had her first at 20.
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord.
This is Rudolf Schenker?
No, that's
from a list. Second one's from a listener. Another listener says, I'm the youngest of 14. 4 sets of identical twins.
Whoa.
From Love That Danhausen Jesus.
4 in one family?
Wow.
Pro Painter Jesus is from a family of 10, and he's going on number 6 of his own. Woo. My dad was one of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with my family.
That's how they did it back in the day. Because
it's a lot more rare today.
Well, Brad Ryder, you grew up in a farming area. You made more kids, so you had more help on the farm.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right.
I've always heard if you have big families like that, it's usually you're either Catholic, Irish, or you lived on a farm.
And I'll tell you what, when you cross all 3 of them together, when you mix all of that together, hold on to something.
That was my dad's case. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, Marcus, thanks for the chit-chat this morning. We'll be watching tomorrow night against Nashville. We always appreciate having you on with all the fun and games, man.
Thanks for having me on again. Nice to catch up, and you guys have a great day.
You too. Marcus Foligno from the Wild. That ought to wrap it up there, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Randy, tell us before we go, though, on your vacation, your anniversary vacation, what do you got planned in Palm Springs, California?
Well, yesterday we spent the day at Joshua Tree National Park, which was absolutely beautiful. Today is, I guess, it's whatever Roseanne wants to do day. So it's a relaxation day. I think we're going to go stroll downtown Palm Springs and just kind of have a leisurely day. And we have a dinner lined up tonight and just kind of take it easy.
How is that different than any other day?
What do you mean?
Do whatever Roseanne says?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm in charge every other day.
Oh, man. That's what you think.
You said you had married 37 years? I don't think so.
If we know your wife the way I believe we know your wife, today's going to involve a lot of empty bottles of wine.
A couple of Bartles and James in there too, maybe.
If it's Roseanne Day,
secret to 37 years.
Yeah, drinking.
Yeah, that's right.
Drinking heavily is the secret to 37. Randy, we'll talk to you tomorrow, and Brad, we'll talk to you on Friday. Thanks, boys.
Do me a favor, Nick.
Yes.
Don't forget about telling the Blackhawk story, because I don't know it, so I want to hear it tomorrow.
I'm putting it on top of my stack of stories for tomorrow. The Chicago Blackhawk story is a fun one.
If you can't talk about it in front of Marcus Foligno, I want to know what the story is.
Totally understood. We'll talk to you boys later.
All right.
We'll be back in a minute on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett.
Where do the majority of UAP sightings happen?
Yeah, military installations, but I couch that. I mean, if they're going to fly here and check something out, they're going to see where our best and brightest are, I would assume. They asked me about seeing any UFOs in Washington, D.C., and I said, no. I said, there's no intelligent life down here.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Well, polish up your dog, schlong, because you're about to score. If your job is scoring, you'll never work a day in your life.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Sure. Welcome back to the Half-Assed Morning Show. We were just jaw-jacking with old Randy Shaver. A few minutes ago, he's celebrating his 37th year of marriage with his cool-ass wife. He lucked out because she is cool.
She's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Pushy, but cool.
You don't want to get on her bad side. You'll be in some serious trouble.
She will push. Anyway, I wish I would have asked him while we had him on the line. After 37 years, I should have asked him what little things his wife does that aggravate him to no end. And that's not an effort to pick on Randy and his wife specifically. I was just taking a look-see at an article about the little things our partners do that aggravate us. By God, they do. So hearing Randy's opinion might have been something. Anybody want to start? The little things. The little things. They don't got to be big things, just little things. And
but sometimes little things become big things when you bring up little things.
Exactly.
The one that just popped into my mind about my girlfriend that really kind of irritates me for no reason. I think I've brought this up to you, Ashley. She refuses and thinks gas station hot dogs are disgusting.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And she's not. She described on her first date. She described her food palette as basic bitch. Like she likes, pepperoni pizza. She likes chicken fingers. So it's not like she thinks she's above having a hot dog. She's grills hot dogs all the time, but she thinks gas station hot dogs are gross and that I'm gross for eating them.
That's not right. She's not right for that.
Gas station hot dogs are gross.
No, not.
But I can't get enough of them.
I see where you're going.
They're so good.
I love them so
love
much.
them. They're the best ones.
I sometimes go inside to pay at the register for the gas just so I have an excuse to grab a dog off the roller.
I agree with your girlfriend. They are gross, but God help us, I'll eat them up.
Well, I've mentioned this before, but we've experienced this a lot lately. We're trying to clean out the house right here and there. And my wife is the worst at moving stuff. I can't figure it out. And has no concept that you might be putting the other person in danger when you turn, flip something a certain way, go too fast, up or down some stairs, not holding it up high enough, holding it too low. I mean, any mistake you can make, she does when it comes to moving stuff. And one of us always gets hurt.
Yeah.
Most people, I've mentioned this before, I truly believe it's a dance. And most people just know this dance.
Yep.
It's a wordless experience between two people. It can be beautiful. You don't have to say anything. You just say, this is going to go over there, and you figure out how to do it.
That's perfect the way you describe that. It is a dance, and most of us know that dance, and we can read each other's expressions, read each other physically as to how to perfect the dance. Your wife doesn't have a handle on that. I'm sure that can be very frustrating.
I should videotape it sometime.
I thought of two.
And somebody's going to lose skin every time, Josh.
Somebody's going to end up with a bloody nose or something.
Two things that aggravate. Little things. Go ahead, Smashley.
Doesn't know how to turn off a light.
Sure.
And when he does the laundry, he doesn't, it's done, but he doesn't fully finish it. He doesn't fold it.
Oh.
And I'm like, don't do laundry if you're not going to finish it.
Okay.
Because now it's been sitting in the dryer, and now I have to go down there and turn the dryer on again because they're all wrinkly.
Yes. He'll walk away from a half-dried dryer full of clothes.
Yeah, it makes me just want to kick a hole in the wall.
I can relate to your first little nitpicky problem. I can relate to your first. My new, usually obedient wife does not know how to turn off a television.
Oh, she'll just leave it on, huh?
If she was in the bedroom, the television is turned on, and then when she moves on to the living room, that bedroom television remains on. My other little annoying habit that my new, usually obedient wife annoys me with is she's sloppy with, like, say, a bag of chips. You know what bag of chips she was eating because it's on the chair she was sitting in, and the chips are on the floor surrounding. I don't know. She just kind of throws the food up in the air, opens her mouth, and prays that some of it. That's where I'd go with this topic of annoying little things that your significant other does.
Yeah, my wife is just very comfortable in a mess. She doesn't mind things being... I like everything to have a place. And I know, okay, this is a little too much for some people, but I like everything to have its place, and she's the opposite. And the problem is, we can never find certain things.
Oh, sure.
Or hey, it says that bill was late, and she put it in the refrigerator. For whenever somebody was coming over, she just throws stuff places.
I bet that's my boyfriend's huge one about me is that I lose everything. I bet that's really frustrating for him.
Yeah, you don't even have your phone with you today.
Yeah, because I left it at home.
Feel free.
I forget my keys all the time, Wapple.
She won't be able to get in the building. I'll get a phone call.
I'm like, hey, Wapple, it's me again. Yeah, I always feel so bad, too. I'm like, I know you're disappointed in me.
You got a code that you can punch in to come in.
There's a code you can use?
It's on the back of your key. Dana's is 6969.
By request.
Wapples is 42069.
Really?
Feel free to text us here, 651-989-9393, if you'd like to add to the conversation about the little things that your partner does that annoys the hell out of you. Now, as I mentioned, there's an article going round and round, and the first entry goes slightly back to what Ashley was saying about her boyfriend's bad laundry habit. Now, I've seen a couple of families like this, and it's fascinating. Here's a gal who says her husband does all of his own laundry. That's nice, I bet. You don't have to deal with his dirty drawers or anything like that. But it never gets folded and put away. It just exists in a basket in our guest bedroom. And then he digs through that basket to find the article of clothing he wants. I know a couple of families like this where there is just a massive pile of clothes in a room. That's the clean clothes. There's another massive pile of clothes in another room. That's the dirty clothes. Nobody hangs up, folds, puts away their clothing.
That stresses me out.
It's just there's two separate piles. I couldn't live that way, but I've seen it.
Steelers fan Jesus said his wife never closes the cupboards.
Yep.
You know, and somebody else had texted something similar. You mentioned your wife will leave the TV on. For whatever reason, in my house, every light has to be on at all times. We could move next to the sun. It doesn't matter what time of day or night. I'm always turning lights off.
And that's why I think when I'm at the house alone, everything is pitch dark. It'll be 5 o'clock now, and the sun's going down, and I'll still be like, nah, not turning on the lights.
Yeah, I'm with you. I never turn lights on.
I'm good with one little, dim light. I had a couple buddies come over to my place a few years ago, and they walked in and said, "What are you, conserving energy or something?" Just because I don't need just one little light so I don't fall down when I'm moving room to room is good enough for me.
That's why I like the Christmas tree up right now. That's the
Sure.
only light I have on, and it looks good. So I'm like, all right, cool.
That's the best.
It's the little things that can annoy us after a while. Here's a lady in the article who says her husband hums all day. But it's one specific song, and it's all year round. Doesn't matter what time of year. He's humming Deck the Halls.
Oh, okay, I just thought of one my wife could say. I always have Christmas songs in my head, and I'll sing them or hum them as well.
It's kind of adorable, though, at the same time.
And I don't even realize I'm doing it. She's like, how do you have Jingle Bell stuck in your head again? Like, I don't know. It's just always in there. I'm insane. I've gone nuts.
He hums it all year round. And I can relate isn't the word. Maybe it is. I can relate to the open cupboards thing. Who said that a minute ago? Someone.
Steelers fan Jesus.
Steelers fan Jesus. I know a couple people, you walk into their house and you'll say, did someone just ransack the place?
You could probably walk into my house right now and think that.
Close the freaking cupboards. How hard is it just to push the damn thing closed? That does aggravate me.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you won't be looking, then you'll hit your head on it, and then you're like, oh, son of a...
Well, when they don't close it and then they continue to walk back and forth past it, and it's like, how do you not just tap that as you go by?
You would be so stressed at my house. Me and my boyfriend both don't know how to close a cupboard.
Like you have to walk around it.
Yes.
You have to alter your gait to try and make sure you don't hit it.
There will be times where I go into the kitchen and I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually left every single cupboard open. What's wrong with me?
It kind of reminds me of a story that a former coworker of ours, her boyfriend, we used to spend a lot of time with. He was a guitar player, still is a guitar player, incredible musician.
Terrific guy.
And he was a touring guitarist with Marilyn Manson. And we had asked him, once he first started, well, what's that like? And at the time, Marilyn Manson was insanely popular.
Yes, he was.
He was talking about, he's like, it's weird, we'll go play. And what did he say? Like, did he say 1 million people in Russia? It was some outrage. I thought he said 1 million.
They had an outdoor show in Russia where, there were no survivors.
Yeah,
there were just so many people that, yes, right.
So he'd say, we went and played this, and then, he handles himself so well, but then, he's so with it. We'll be at a hotel or something. He'll open the fridge to grab a glass of water or a bottle of water, and he leaves the fridge open. And he was like, his reaction was so good. He's like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who does it? And he said it would happen all the time. He'd just open the fridge, grab something, and leave it open.
Now, if I remember, Josh, tell me if I'm wrong. This guitar player friend of ours who played with Marilyn Manson, after a while, I think he said he assumed that this gimmick where Manson would open a fridge and leave it open, he said he thought it might have been some kind of a test to see which member of his band would close the refrigerator door for him in order to gauge who was the most obedient member of the band. What member of the band can I trust the most? That kind of weird
that's
mind.
Right. Yeah, he said it was either a power move, like, hey, I'm Marilyn Manson, I don't close my own refrigerator door.
Right.
Or like you said, he was going to see who's the guy that's going to step up.
All right, we're talking about the small little annoying things that your partner does that annoys the balls off of you. Again, if you'd like to text, 651-989-9393. A lot of yous are annoyed.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
What in the actual are you guys doing?
On 93X.
Our listeners are annoyed, and it's not by us this time. It's by their partners. It's by their, how do you say it again, significant others. That's what we've been talking about the last few minutes. The little things that our partners do that annoy the hell out of us, and these text messages that we've been receiving from our listening audience are effing hilarious. What have they been saying to you, Josh?
There's some good stuff. Well, I want to start with one I got from my wife. I had texted her to ask what I do, what is it that I do that annoys her? And the first thing she said is, you don't really. Why? How about that? That's a good start.
Oh, that's nice.
And I thought, oh, that's unfortunate because I have an entire list.
Oh.
But she got back and said, if I had to pick stuff, I guess our differences in temperature, that's a big one. I do keep the house cold. But I must say I'm a gentleman, and if I'm going to be gone, I'll turn it up for her, right? But if I'm home, I keep it cold, so I'm mostly selfish.
I can picture you being one hell of a good roommate.
I do my best, and she said, I'm going to guess for me it was my lack of organization and that I can't move things. And that's exactly it.
That's perfect.
Those are the two things.
You said exactly that.
But there's, like you said, Nick, so many people are checking in, and some of these are absolutely hilarious. Stuff you wouldn't really think about.
They're really annoyed, too. Like, some of them are just straight up pissed off.
And there's a couple that spoke to me, or I should say, I know will speak to you, Nick, like this one from Lives in Brainerd, Jesus. Been married for 22 years. God knows I love my wife. I love her. But she eats with her mouth open and smacks her lips, and there are days I just want to snap, but then I remember she lets me touch her happy places. All is forgiven.
Oh,
you gotta remember that.
Noises, the worst.
That's the worst. You know, you've heard me a million times. People who eat with their mouth open and smack their mouth. I want to puke.
Turkey Bucket Jesus said, my wife's annoying habit is she can't take her glass to the sink when she's done eating. She'll get up from the table, she'll grab her plate, but she only takes that. The glass just sits on the table, and I can't figure out why.
That is
I do that
strange.
sometimes.
I've been in relationships with somebody where they have like the 7 different glasses on the nightstand. You know, they refuse to take them down to the kitchen of just varying amounts of water in them.
Well, I'll get up in the middle of the night and take them down.
Yeah.
I'm anal about that. I'll always walk with Elias Jesus said, what gets me is when the garbage is full and instead of taking it out, just keep stuffing it in until it overflows.
I love that move.
Oh, that's definitely me. And then the first thing that happens when my boyfriend gets home from work is I'm like, hey, do you mind taking the trash out?
Candy Shees has said, my husband won't help when I ask him for little things around the house, but his friends can ask him to help move a giant boulder and he'll jump up immediately and run to help.
Going back to the garbage bag thing, it can
You're
be annoying.
a garbage bag.
Yeah, you are.
Thanks.
No, you're not. I didn't mean that.
It can be annoying if you don't put the garbage bag back in there, too.
Oh, I'll start a war over that.
There was one time I was cooking, and all of a sudden I turn around to throw all this crap away, and I just threw it in the bottom of the trash can. There wasn't anything in there.
Dude, it's always
I'm
when
like,
you're in the middle of cooking. Always.
I don't have too many in the middle of cooking stories.
I do not have one.
There's a fair amount of rage in here from our listeners when they texted in about what annoys them about their significant other, and I really appreciate it. One listener says, she smokes outside. I've got ashtrays outside, but the cigarette butts end up on the porch.
That would be annoying.
She buys things, one listener says about his wife. She buys things, mirrors, desks, shelves, picture frames, things that need to be hung/built. And then she lets them sit on the ground in their future location without ever asking me to help. It will be months, and I finally can't stand it anymore, and she'll say, well, I don't know how to do it.
That's kind of cute.
My husband hands me things, his trash, his coffee cup, the remote, anything in his hands he doesn't want in his hands anymore, he will give it to me instead of putting away or setting it down somewhere else.
There you go.
Here you go.
Too.
You can have this, and you can have this.
He just doesn't know where it goes.
I thought this was
figure it out.
This was clever from 5 More Feet of Fury Jesus when you were talking about leaving cupboards open, Ashley. She said, my husband always leaves the cupboards open. I feel like Vanna White every time I walk through the kitchen when I close them. Yes, there are 3 A's.
My wife just turns off the water in the shower. She doesn't shut off the shower. So when I turn on the shower, ice cold water blasts me in the chest, and it pisses me off.
My parents used to do that when I lived with them. I hated that.
Above average. Sorry.
Like I said, it's the little things. Go ahead, Josh.
Above average D, below average attorney Jesus said, my wife treats every horizontal surface as a shelf. Countertops, tables, fireplace mantle. Drives me insane. And now she's doing it because she knows it annoys me.
What about this one? This guy says, my wife says she broke her jaw when she was little and she can't open her mouth that far. He says it's the little things. It's annoying. Not closing the garage door after you pull the car in. Why can't you close the friggin' garage door?
It's usually right there by the door, too, when you walk in.
I've lived with people like that where they're the last one to come home, say 10:30 at night, right? They come in the drive, or they come up the, what do you call that thing? We just said it out loud. The garage. They come in the garage. And then when I get up for work at 3:30 in the morning, the damn garage door's wide open. Anybody could have taken my Harley Davidson e-bike. Anybody could take, break into the cars, take my...
Well, if this was years ago, your D-O-Ped?
My D-O-Ped, yeah. How is it when you pulled in at 10:30 at night that you didn't think it was time to close the garage door?
And you can just hit the same button that you just hit to open the garage door.
That's why I've been getting more and more smart devices.
Yeah.
Just to try and make sure that doesn't happen.
You know what bank examining Jesus' wife does? Little things that annoy him. You want to know what she does?
Yeah.
She'll sit on the couch with a blanket, but then when she stands up, the blanket falls to the floor. She doesn't pick it up.
Not her problem.
It just sits on the floor.
4 before 34, Jesus said his wife loves eating chips in bed, but there's always crumbs, and it's infuriating. Also, Ashley, he wants you to know most people take these 7 to 10 business days to fold laundry, especially with kids. You take that advice.
Oh, okay.
I love the anger here, and we can all relate. I've been criticized for this. Now, who is this? Tuba Thor Jesus. I've been criticized for this. His girlfriend will sniffle for hours rather than blow her nose.
You do sniffle a lot.
And I am not, as you know, Josh, I'm 52 years old. I have no idea how to properly blow my own nose. So, yes, I avoid that task because I don't know how to do it. A few days ago, we were talking about how our dads always carried around a snot rag.
Yeah.
A reusable snot rag that what was always fascinating to me is when they would do that, pull the rag out your back pocket and blow your nose, wherever, at a ball game or while fishing, they never got anything on them. They were so good at it. Yes, the rag is disgusting, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I could never do that. If you gave me a rag right now and I blew my nose, I would look like a 4-year-old. It would be all over me. There's one more here that I really like just the way it was said as far as annoying things that our partners do. Oh, the answer to every question that I ask my girlfriend, the answer to every question I ask her, her answer is, I don't know. He says, look, lady, it's yes or it's no.
Sometimes we just don't know.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, especially when it comes to like restaurants or something.
Oh, that'll make me so mad.
Yeah, I mean, like my wife, she's pretty good at shooting stuff down, but not coming up with suggestions. And after a while, it's kind of like, all right, just whatever you want. And then she doesn't know what you want.
That's actually another one of my things that piss me off is when I ask my boyfriend. He knows the question's coming. I ask every day, what do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know. You choose. Come on. Nothing comes to your mind at all. Nothing. I have to choose again.
Yep. And then you choose. Nothing's good enough.
Yup.
And then when you finally get something, and it's like, okay, now what do you want with it? I don't know.
Whatever you want. Okay, I guess you're not eating then.
I don't have French fries. No, that's not good enough.
DSI trash slanging Jesus has a problem with his woman.
What is it?
He says, when we are in an argument, my woman will ask me a question and then refuse to actually let me answer it. Kind of reminds me of Pinky. Pinky, not House Party, next Friday. Everyone remember the legendary scene where Pinky's in the record store, Ice Cube, nobody? Pinky?
No. Nah.
I never saw Next Friday.
He puts a gun to Ice Cube's head and he says, don't you say a word or I'll blow your head smooth off. And then he says to Ice Cube, now what are you doing here? And then when Ice Cube tries to answer the question, he says, I said don't say a word. And then Pinky says, who sent you? And then when Ice Cube tries to, I told you not to say, but he keeps asking him. You got to see him next Friday. What's the matter? Pinky's one of the greatest characters in movie history.
Happy 14th birthday to little man Jesus from his proud dad, Big Sweet Ginger Jesus.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.